Gotta have the Mummy.
I think the Mummy is less persistent than maybe The Witch.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to be the Mummy on Halloween.
You can thank Brendan Fraser for that. Well, it's always an old school thing you see on TV and movies is a kid wrapped up in toilet paper on Halloween.
Right.
But I've never seen it in real life.
No, ever. No. I've never seen the ghost in the old sheet either.
No, I guess not.
Although I feel like the ghost in the old sheet probably did happen. That probably was like
for
an
sure.
old 40s.
Because it takes 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can get candy out of it.
I don't know who ever did it. I don't think anybody ever did the Mummy.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. If you did it now, you better look like Imhotep or you're fucking get out of my doorstep.
But then you're not even in a costume. You're just a sexy Egyptian
dude. You're so sexy with the rags.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you go desiccated Imhotep, maybe.
Okay, sure.
But
dude, with the rad face paint, the metal faceplate.
Oh yeah,
it looks cool as shit.
We're not talking about mummies.
Oh, we're not. Sorry.
We will eventually.
We'll get there.
But yeah, so mummies. No, witches, not witches. Hello, Internet! Welcome back to The Scariest Hour. Friends of the Paranormal, the only show where it's okay to substitute Morton's table salt in your warding circles. I'm Matt.
And Zach.
Wait. Tonight we doing Witchcraft, baby.
No, wait. We're doing Witchcraft, but I did it again on accident.
What?
Where it's like, I called you Matt and Zach.
Yeah.
I didn't say who I am.
You did.
I'm sure it's easy to figure out. It just feels. It feels not a good
off.
foot. Not a good foot to start off on. But we're fucking.
We in it, baby. We doing Witchcraft.
I guess we're fucking Witchcraft. And I'm mad about it now.
You're mad. So, for those who don't know, yes, welcome to The Scariest Hour. We are a show that covers various horror and supernatural topics.
Paranormal. What did they call it on the other one? It was like, there was paranormal, and there was like paranatural.
There's paranatural.
Paranatural is a fun one. I like that phrase.
I've seen, I don't know exactly what it's in relation to, but I've seen subternatural be a thing.
Subternatural?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with, it's like subternatural, something like that.
That's cool. I never heard that phrase at all.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was in reference to. Probably mole men.
Yeah, hopefully underground stuff. Usually subta gets underground. Pretty underground.
But yes, we usually pick a topic. In this case, it is Witchcraft. And we individually do our own little research before we meeting before recording, and we could watch a movie we pick, the previous episode. And it's covered all up.
Horror topics framed around movies. You know why? Because we like movies, man.
We love movies.
We always have.
What's fun to discuss how movies kind of do it,
Well, how the zeitgeist of a certain topic is reflected in the art of a culture.
Yeah.
Sure. That's what that is. I mean, it sounds a lot more scientific than just we watched some shit movies.
It sounds way more fancy than we just watched the forgotten classic Warlock.
Yeah, we just watched Warlock, so it's not exactly not a sipping red wine type of situation we got going on. However, I think it's fun. I have fun doing it.
Yeah, this was really good to research.
Especially, it's an excuse to watch movies.
Right.
And, doing research on this one was, can I say wonky? A little wonky.
Yeah. It's an odd one. I
mean, there's plenty of material.
Yeah, I had to focus myself on a specific, kind of subset, because there's a couple I like a lot. Sure. That are more, because when I say witchcraft, I don't I didn't intend to just be like witches, like the way we like European colonial, pilgrims versus witches kind of stuff.
Which is awesome.
But because like shit like voodoo and
I did some voodoo
what do they call it? Priscilla's family's terrified of brujas.
Oh yeah, it's Santeria.
Yeah, they're they have their own little black magic subculture there, the bruja witches, which are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's a whole thing.
The Bruja Witches, it sounds like a softball team from Bruja.
Yeah. But yeah, Witchcraft covers a lot of various like occult dealings and, odd stuff like that. Though I'll probably just be covering a couple more European ones.
Sure.
Though there is plenty out there, especially when you start digging into like voodoo specifically, or like black magic from south of the border. Oh yeah. Some of that shit gets real hardcore. Like not fun hardcore. Like that dude that got like abducted and like cannibalized essentially as part of various rituals.
You know what Nganga is?
Not offhand.
Dude, and Nganga is I'm pretty sure it's Latin.
Is it just like their word for spook mage?
No, it's a pit that you put a bunch of dead stuff in.
Right.
And the more legit the dead stuff, the more powerful the magic that pumps out of it.
Awesome.
It was like
so yeah, it's like
there's a pretty famous clan, I forget what they're called, but there was a bunch of drug dealers who were like, protect us from the law, and they just started murking people and like mutilating them and throwing them in the pit, and it's a whole fucking thing. I think they'd like sex them up first, and not in a I made it sound way nicer by saying sex them up.
Yeah, that guy that got abducted got real roughed up.
Yeah.
In the sex parts.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good.
Not good at all. Some people are into that, but it's never the people that get it done to them, which is unfortunate.
But yeah, I specifically covered more, I guess, traditional witches.
Yeah, cookie cutter witches.
I actually watched 2 movies this time and didn't just watch one or cave on a documentary like I do sometimes.
I watched 2 movies too. One of them I liked a lot more than the other, which is usually how it shakes out.
Sure. So, then we will, before we get to it, witchcraft is a big thing in film. There's a lot.
Sure, yeah, there is.
There are, I would say.
Well, it's a wide net to cast. I mean, a lot of shit is technically witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. Before it came out, I would have said picking a Jaws of witchcraft would have been hard, but thankfully the Witch is out.
Yeah,
which is the Jaws of spooky, scary witch movies.
Well, especially like actual legit. Witch in the woods.
Yeah.
Kind of, which there is a witch in the woods.
New England, don't go into the woods because nothing here wants us here.
Yeah.
Scary, superstitious witch stuff.
God, I fucking love that movie.
It's fucking super rad.
Me and my wife saw it in the theater.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking great.
Me and my wife did too, and we're...
So what a good date night.
We had a
go see the witch.
Very distinct memory of us walking out, and everybody, walking out was just doing the same kind of
hey, fuck them guys.
They're like, it's alright.
It's alright.
And I was
they don't like
motherfuckers.
You don't understand atmosphere, you pussies.
Yep.
I actually got a good laugh from the theater.
Right.
When at the end of the movie, which spoilers for The Witch, skip to 2:20.
Don't do this to me again.
You didn't do it last time. What does it matter?
Absolutely did not.
Never will. Fuck you. There's spoilers for The Witch. Plug your ears for a second.
Just start pacing around going,
at the end when they're all floating up, naked, and it's like, she becomes a witch, right? Cuts to credits. I was like, so happy ending.
Right,
whole theater laughed.
Yeah,
it was like, I felt good about that. I like getting a laugh.
Yeah,
I miss my calling as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, well, the Witch is probably the most iconic. It's
it has become thus.
Yeah, but before it came out,
it's fucking kick ass.
I really couldn't think of one that really. There's a couple badass.
Probably the Blair Witch. Probably the Blair Witch.
But that one shares. We were discussing a little bit off camera, but that shares so much with the Bell Witch in that it is almost more of a supernatural presence than an actual
more poltergeist,
like a thing in the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blair Witch probably beforehand, or I don't know, the book Hansel and Gretel or something.
Yeah, but you can't.
Or this is for Rudolph's The Witches with
yeah.
Yeah, but Witches, they have a lot more good movies. Like The Witches is super great. I mean, Hocus Pocus isn't scary, but it's like our age group is like everybody's seen that movie.
Dude, and it's a chunk of their soul.
Yeah,
I fucking love Hocus Pocus. I watched some when I was living in Tampa. I went to a place called Hamburger Mary's in Ybor City. It's a drag queen bar, and it was around Halloween time.
Which you know what they were gonna do?
They did fucking put a spell on you, and it kicked ass. It was great. Yeah. It was so good. There was also this one lady who she looked like fucking King Ghidorah. She had like a gold dress. I forget what song she was singing, but at some point during the climax of the song, this crescendo, she reaches down into the sides of her dress and pulls up, and she had fucking like gold wings.
Dude.
And I was just wasted in this drag bar like, this is fucking great. Yeah.
Fucking mainline in the secret truth of the universe.
Dude, I think so, man.
You witnessed it.
I think.
What other ones come to mind?
Well, I got a list here
of like classic old witch movies.
Well, just the ones that came to my mind brain at the onset of this endeavor we got going on. I got the Witch, Hereditary.
Hereditary
that's
does
a
involve,
recent one.
Yeah, that does involve
witchy.
A pagan cult. Yeah.
That's witchy, and fucking excellent. Some Ari Aster shit, who's one of my favorite modern filmmakers.
100%. There's that movie with Sean Bean from, like, I don't know, what was that, 20...
Black Death?
Yeah, Black Death.
Black Death was kick-ass, super man. Rad. I like Black Death a lot. And guess what? He dies in it.
Guess what? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was a good one, too. That's something that's gets done a lot in film, but why I liked The Witch so much is that it didn't do this was like, is there really a witch? Is there witchcraft going on, or is it just like people going crazy in a village because of such and such? They actually, in Black Death, I think they covered the rotted wheat that is pretty much like becomes LSD when you make stuff out of it, like the ale and bread and whatnot.
The Witch does it too. They very specifically show like a lot of their bread and corn shows like ergot poisoning.
Right, ergot. That's starting to happen. Ergot.
Yeah. Ergot's, at least like historically,
cause people to get burned.
Is blamed 100% on all werewolf cases.
Really?
Yeah, like true, like a dude was like mauling people.
That's werewolf propaganda, man.
Anti-werewolf propaganda.
Yeah, well, no, the werewolves are trying to cover their tracks.
Right.
Fucking assholes, dude. You think I don't see you, werewolves?
I mean, it didn't save them from getting burned.
I mean, it probably did save some of them.
Right.
They're still out there.
Right.
See our Werewolves and Dogman episode for more on that.
That's a good one.
It was a good one. I had fun with that one a lot.
But yeah, witches have a wide breadth of history with film.
Absolutely.
Even I cannot remember it for the life of me. I had it before we like sat down to watch. I was like, I gotta bring it up. But it's a classic old black and white horror movie. It opens with one of the fucking most raddest things where they're putting a witch to death, and she's all strapped up to a pole, and she's just cursing everybody. She's just like giving them the hitherto's and the Y4s.
Oh sure.
Yeah. And they get this big fuck off mask with these fucking spikes, and they rest it on her face, and this big gimp with a sledgehammer just fucking boom.
Whoa!
Just gives her good 2 or 3 whacks, and they do like the blood pouring down the side. It's so
awesome.
Old school fucking nonsense. But I watched that movie, I don't know, like 13, 14. It was part of a...
Brutal.
I think it was... I first saw it when... Yeah, AMC did a really rad scariest movies
I miss
like thing, and I got like I remember I made a list of everything presented that I hadn't seen. I was like, I gotta check it out.
Sure.
That's where I saw like Alice Sweet Alice for the first time, or
I miss
the original Suspiria. I was like, yo, I gotta watch this. That's how I found fucking all that shit.
I legitimately miss like old school AMC.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Man, they used to do, I forget what holiday it was, but they did the Apes of Wrath. I'm pretty sure that was AMC, and they would that's the first time I was like exposed to actually watching the Planet of the Apes films, the old school ones. Whereas it's a zeitgeist thing. Everybody knows about the Planet of the Apes and the fucking Statue of Liberty. Right, you blew it all up. All that bullshit. But which, by the way, I got fucking gripes with Planet of the Apes, if I can take a little tangent for a second, is how do you not know you're on Earth when you land? They got horses. They speak English. What the fuck? Like, come on, Charlton Heston.
Right.
What? you can land. Look, I'm down with. You could land on a planet and there's 8 people.
Sure.
Fine. It's totally an alien possibility. But they have legit just horses, regular horses.
Right. Yeah.
What the? Hey, maybe. How does this planet work? But then maybe shit happens so fast you don't have time to stop and think about it because you're getting put in a loincloth. You got to get in a cage. There's fucking nets everywhere.
How many astronauts really know that horses are,
I mean, it's my kind of astronaut. You should at least it should arouse suspicion.
Charlton Heston didn't get into space because he was smart. He got into space because he was handsome.
Yeah. That's a deep cut to them skinny dipping in a watering hole in future hellscape.
No, AMC used to be really cool until they decided to be like,
what
they started chasing Sopranos' coattails.
Yeah, Walking Dead is what really did it.
Yeah.
Because Breaking Bad was kick-ass.
Yeah.
But Walking Dead really fucking sealed the deal as far as like, well, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Whole channel. So
we'll stop being American movie classics, and it turned into the Walking Dead channel.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But
anyway,
like we were saying, witches have a long-standing history. They're a classic, fucking horror icon.
Yes.
As a country, we were obsessed with it for a while.
Oh yeah.
We're scared of witches, Satan. America has a very unhealthy obsession with Satan.
Yeah.
We're very scared of him. We don't want him in our schools.
No,
and
don't like him.
We blame everything on Satan and witchcraft.
We don't want Satan in our schools so hard that we took God out too, just to not bait him in.
Yeah, right.
God
understood.
Let's hope.
He got it. So Zach, how do you feel about witches? How do you feel about witchcraft? Has it touched your life?
Possibly, yeah. I know it's odd to say, but there's a certain instance that happened. It's kind of a long story, really, but I got drunk around a lady who might have been a witch. She crashed in my apartment, and then when I woke up, she left. She got a ride out of there, and there was a little, like a knitted witch, like on top of my TV. And then like bad shit started happening. Like there was some financial trouble. I don't know. You'd have to ask Amanda about it too, my wife. But like some shit started
Frogs kept getting into the house.
Some shit started going south, and I was like, we gotta get rid of this fucking witch totem, dude. It's fucking weird. She didn't. I don't know when she made it. That's what I was sitting there. I was like, did she make this? Did she just have it with her? What the fuck is going on? Why did she leave it here? This is not good. Mm-hmm. And then we threw it away, and it was fine. Or at least finer, I guess. I don't know. But, so yeah, maybe.
Weird.
As far as how I feel about it, it's... Witchcraft, honestly, creeps me out a little bit more than your average horror movie subject.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you gotta... There's always the risk of a psycho dude with a knife just being around.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That could happen. But as far as, like... I get a real kick and a funny feeling out of, like... pagan magic, because of how it's been stamped out by the modern world for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, how real do we really know that it's not? That doesn't make sense. I should have phrased that better.
Right.
We don't know that it's not real because it doesn't get like practiced the way it used to. But even if it does, it's done in like real dark forests, and it hasn't like pervaded its way into modern society yet, unless you think it has, because all the leaders are doing it, and all of the like bad shit in society that we have to deal with now is actually a pagan problem brought on by rituals and witchcraft and stuff. So I don't know, it just depends on what you buy, really, as far as all that bullshit goes. But it creeps me out more than a regular, like, I'm more scared of witchcraft than I am zombies.
100%. Because, like, real people do fucked up shit on the account of witchcraft.
Well, that's a large part of the issue, too, is that, like, okay, well, even if I don't believe in it, some lady who's trying to sacrifice my kid believes in it enough to steal my kid.
Does,
So,
I have it's like very intertwined with my life, because my mom is a very open and upfront pagan.
Right.
So that shit, the iconography, the whole like crystal subculture. Astrology, that shit's always been like, I've been around it. Yeah, I've been around it, and like old druidic nonsense. I've been around it, and I have an appreciation for it. I like it a lot more than I think most other New England born fucking religions, I guess.
Okay.
You know, like, I like pagans more than I like Christians.
Well, I mean, pagans their roots go deeper.
Yeah, and it's a more interesting theology. And it was super important to my mom, but, like, it's funny, it's mainly the reason I am not religious, is her pagan stuff.
Really?
Mainly because, like, I really saw her thing, and I was like, this is the same thing. Like,
right.
Like, no offense to my dear old ma, who definitely watches these and tells me what a good boy I am.
Well, you're a very good boy, Matt.
I went through a stretch where I was like, what the fuck am I? Do I believe in anything? And I was like, well, my mom's into this. So I started getting, I read the Bible, and I was like, sure. I don't like this. So I was like, oh, mom's this. I'll check this out. And I read it, and I was like, this is the same. I was like, it's all magic. It's all make-believe prayers. You just use cool rocks.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if I can get behind that.
Well, I mean, using cool rocks is cooler than eating crackers.
It's definitely way cooler.
So
I get why, like, sad, like, late bloomer high school girls get way witchcraft.
Sure. It's got a fucking solid revival, man.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. There's whole New Age sections in, like, bookstores and stuff, which I think if this was... Could you imagine, like, a New Age section in, like, 50s or 60s bookstores? They'd fucking burn the whole place to the ground.
They'd kill everybody in that town.
Yeah, they probably would just hang everyone.
Yeah. But, yeah, that shit's always been there in my life. I've always been around the pentacles and...
Sure.
Fucking so many crystals.
I do like a good, like... It is legit. It's more... It's cooler because it's like wizard stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You've got crystals and unnamed gods and books and sigils and symbols and whatnot.
It's fucking straight up Merlin shit.
Yeah, dude, that's why it's like that part is interesting to me. But only that somebody in a group would do it. Like, I don't want to be involved in it, but if I know somebody who does, it's like, okay, we have a wizard that I can fall back on in case magic shit goes down.
We do have a wizard, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those staples you need in any good adventuring group. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I can handle other stuff while and not worry about the magic so much.
Okay, give me the club.
Yes.
You take the book.
I definitely want a broadsword. I will
bash the goblins. You figure out how to open this fucking elf door.
I mean, honestly, if you figure out a way to throw fireballs, I'd appreciate knowing how to do that. Sure. But I mean, that's more from a Liu Kang standpoint than a wizard standpoint.
Yeah.
Because if you're throwing fireballs, it's metal no matter what. It's super cool. But if you have like a staff and a hat and you're throwing fireballs, it's not as cool as being a kung fu monk who throws fireballs. Like, do the math.
Sure. I mean, I think I fall on the other side of that.
You think?
A little bit.
Dude.
You know what it is? I think it's because, and this is a little off the topic, but
well, I mean,
it's mostly because when I'm thinking of like what I think is cool, I like the idea that magic comes at a cost in a way. Like, I like that because a monk I'm so physically perfect that now I am also magically powerful.
Yes, and it's a discipline. It's like a strength of mind.
It's a different. I like that the wizard is a specialist as opposed to the monk who like often is. I'm just perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome though.
I just don't like it.
Well, it's not a perfection thing that I think. It doesn't come out of being a physically perfect specimen. He's a physically perfect specimen because of how tightly disciplined his mind is.
Right.
He's honed his body into a weapon of complete death.
And now
he's also he can shoot fireballs because he can. Yeah. He's trained his brain to tap into the metaphysical so he can shoot fireballs.
Yeah, it's a different thing from
yeah, for sure. Liu Kang versus Gandalf is going down. That's a hell of a scuffle.
But yeah, that I'm with you. I love it. I love it aesthetically. I love it aesthetically. It's been in my life as long as I've been alive. Sure. I've been around fucking old books and crystals and shit. And it's probably my mom's fault that I was predisposed to being like into fantasy shit.
Right. I mean, it does now that I am because I've known that about you, but now that I hear it explained in such a way, it's like, explain some shit.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely been a big part of me. At least in I think I appreciate shit more because I wasn't just around, vanilla bread fucking Christian subtype religion like my dad's side is.
That's why I was just like brought up. Baptist Church, Southern Baptist, baby. Florida Baptist Church.
Ooh, yeah.
Coming out of Indiana.
Oh yeah.
Baptist Church, and then going to Southern Florida Baptist Church is like, yeah, it's my mind was hammered in a certain way, which comes from a different. Because there's plenty of people who had the same upbringing as me, but they never did like the. Wait a minute. So you're telling me God knew the whole time that the whole thing was going to play out the way it plays out, and you created humanity anyway. You like created humanity knowing that 90% of you were going to burn for eternity.
Yep.
It's like a bit of a dick move, but he works in mysterious ways, so who knows?
Right. Yeah. Which it creates, it's one of those early things you can question about, like when you see evil witches, where it's always like, well, they chose Satan.
Yeah,
like, look at the alternative,
See, but here's something interesting about that is that if the witches choose like a pagan path, but anything that's not of God is Satan.
Is evil.
By name Satan, not just evil. Well, because Satan is just evil no matter what.
Correct.
Or evil is Satan, and they're interchangeable, those things. So
the great enemy.
Yeah, you could be any witch could be worshiping any like of pagan god or whatever, and it would just because it's not Jesus Christ the Son.
Yeah.
It's fucking Satan by name Satan. So you get burned about it.
One of my favorite things in Good Omens, there's a witch. It opens with like a witch being burned at the stake for basically just knowing modern medicine. She's just like,
oh yeah,
like, how dare you cure my backwards?
Yeah, you did this
flawlessly.
Yeah, I feel amazing. Burn her
with herb and potion. You cured me. You witch. And that's honestly, that's one of those weird things. Is witches are either portrayed as primal nightmares that live in the woods.
Yeah,
which are awesome. Those are the best witches.
I mean, all of it is awesome. Yeah.
Well, it's either that or they are the everything about women is bad trope. They're hot, they're sexual.
That's the one that's weird to me. How like you would think that judging by just the way society and male-driven culture goes, that everything bad about women.
Sure.
One would be the old hag in the woods.
Right.
But everything bad about women actually comes from this super foxy goth chick who is like about that life, about that pagan life.
Yeah.
So like, it's just strange.
The Craft is like, I think the best, we didn't bring it up initially, but The Craft is like a postmodern witch movie for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love The Craft.
And it definitely, I guarantee you it caused the late 90s, early 2000s like flush of pagan goth chicks.
It had a hand in it if it didn't directly cause it at the very least.
I would bet money on it.
Because it'd be women our age, so like early mid 30s.
Same crowd that watched Hocus Pocus for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. So yeah, those two probably joined hands and walked all these girls into paganry.
Into just looking great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of that, like, fucking bohemian goth. Fucking love it, dude. Big fan.
Dream catchers and knives.
Dude, don't get me started, man. Like clothes made of blankets and whatnot.
Right. The comfiest witch.
Like a fucking jeweled belly dancer garb with just like shawls and stuff. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
I like mixing it up, man. When you get those old like doily looking shawls, and then underneath is just like an old green army jacket.
Yeah, it's like combat boots and shit.
Yes.
Well, I'm a fan of mixed aesthetics like that anyway.
Welcome to the Scariest Hour Fashion Corner, where we discuss late 90s teen girl fashion.
Yeah, dude, which is carried on into the 2020s. 2021 that's still a totally viable path for you to dress, 100%. By the way. Do not stop doing it, ladies out there. Don't stop doing it.
Dress how you want. Anybody dress how they want.
Right.
Fuck it.
Except for what I'm saying right now, dress how I want, so I can see it.
Dress like pilgrims again. They look great.
I don't like it.
Give me buckle
Guys
shoes.
Can dress like pilgrims, but the girl pilgrims were all buttoned up. And
I bet you they could rock it.
If they did...
I think anybody can rock anything.
All right, fine. If you're going to be like that.
Because the best witches, which is the third type, is free spirit, baby. What's up?
Yeah, true. Bohemian.
We all free. Well, actually, no. There is the other trope of witches, which is
voodoo priestess.
I said witches like 3 times, but there's the other witch, which is. Well, there's voodoo, but I lump that into the evils. But it's
okay.
Not because they're evil because voodoo, but because voodoo is actually voodoo has the same thing with paganism, where it's actually a very positive thing
mostly,
and the idea of doing bad shit to people is really like looked down upon because it'll come back on you.
It's
like,
feared
hardcore.
by the white man, so it becomes evil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
That's just the way it is.
But
sucks.
it's that the witch is evil because she knows, basic fucking hygiene, essentially.
Yeah. She's the only one brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
So it's like, get this fucking minty fresh bitch out of here.
But witches are fun.
I
like all like old druidic paths. Voodoo is super rad.
Yeah.
All that shit's fucking great.
It is pretty cool. Except when you're on the south side of it.
Sure,
of
course, 100%.
But then again, nothing is cool when you're getting accosted by it.
Right.
Well, even though, you know what I bet though? A tiger is still cool if it's mauling you to death. You know what I mean? Tigers are badass.
Sure. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a tiger.
Yeah, exactly. That's still cool if it's mauling you.
I'd like to think I would have the wherewithal to be like, this is pretty cool. This is awesome. It's got its teeth hooked in my wrist.
Oh, for sure.
Shaking me around. You know it can.
Yeah, it definitely can. Very strong animals.
Yeah, so, that's how we feel about witches. I feel like, we both probably have the same opinion of witches.
It'll come up again, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The real question is, do we cover real-life encounters or movies?
I don't give a shit.
Then let's do movies.
Okay.
You want to start us off, Zachary? I think I started last time.
Okay.
I think I did.
That. The first movie I watched, I'm going to start with should I start with the not good one? Well, okay. Should I start
Dealer's
with
choice, baby.
The less good one or the better one? Because the better one, I'm going to start with the better one. Fuck it. Because the short one is whatever.
Yeah, the not as good one is short.
Right.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about, dude. You know me so well, man.
Dude, I know you so well.
You know me so good, bro.
I know you so good.
You know me so good all the time, man. You always be knowing me and shit, bro. Okay, the movie I watched was called Apostle.
Yo, yes!
You seen this movie?
I've seen Apostle. Apostle's rad as
Dude,
fuck.
Apostle was pretty good. I was a little worried when it started, or when it was like a good chunk into it, that it wasn't like witchcrafty.
Yeah.
But it turned out there was enough in it for me to use it for this particular episode.
No, it's super badass.
Because
it's super old school primal pagan
dude,
shit. Yeah.
It is fucking really cool. Okay, so the lowdown is it's almost like a BioShock plot.
It 100% is.
Where this
holy shit.
This drifter who is addicted to laudanum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For
we don't name drugs cool stuff.
Cool shit anymore. I know it's always like Proloxapam and bullshit like that. Like it always sounds like a sneeze or like a Star Trek race.
Right.
But anyway, this drifter who is played by the guest from The Guest.
Oh yeah.
It took me forever to be like, who the fuck is this guy? Because his voice is different.
When he comes out shaved at one point, I was like, no.
Is that
no?
really?
Is that the guy from The Guest?
It sure is.
And then I was like, I watching it too. I was just like, Priscilla remembered. She'll probably remember if she say it, but I out loud went, "Oh, thank God, this guy can just act. Like he's just a good actor."
Right. Oh yeah.
Because I was worried The Guest was like a fluke of him being handsome.
Right. I could for sure, but no, he's very good.
Oh yeah, he's super solid.
All the performances in this movie are fucking really good.
It's always dicey when you get those Netflix originals. Like you never quite know. But it was made in that clump with The Ritual and
dude, The Ritual was
Apostle.
one I almost
it would work too. It's super old school like Viking
but
pagan
there's
stuff.
no like. I guess the cult in it is kind of witchy, but I wanted something that had like a witch in it.
Yeah,
it's
hard when there's stuff where like cult stuff can technically be witchcrafty stuff.
Well, because like we were saying earlier, the net is so wide that a bunch of shit can fit into it. Right. Anyway, so this guy gets not hired, but
it's like his sister, right?
Yeah, his sister is on this island with a cult,
right?
Who have ransomed his sister because their father is rich, but his father is going crazy and is just dying.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to like pay because he's gone.
You see him you see him with his back to you in an armchair for like 6 seconds, and he's never shown again.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, you got to go get your sister out of there. We all thought you were dead, you know, until this bullshit came about. So you got to go get your sister.
Right.
And he's like, okay, cool. And then he goes to get his sister from this island who they're, I guess, separatists?
Yeah.
From
it's very
from mainland Britain.
Yeah, it's very close. It's almost borderline the same island as like even down to the mythology almost as what the fuck's it? Wicker Man, sure. An island that is separate from the main island of, you know, the UK, and they worship
have like
some old nature thing, and
there's like a splinter society.
Crops are like a big deal for them, and they need to like abide it to keep it flush and shit. Yeah,
only this is done by
it's way fucking
some
more
sort of like a nature goddess of some kind that they're appeasing with blood of things.
Yeah.
And the blood is, I guess she's starting to, I don't know about build up a resistance to it, but she's starting to, the yield is not as high as it needs to be to support.
Well, yeah, the way I saw it,
cult.
if I remember correctly, the way I had interpreted it it's almost like towards the end, you find out that they really shouldn't have been giving her blood. Like, it was fucking her up. Yeah. And I think that it was, maybe not so much a resistance, but it was more just like, no, it's run its course. Like, she's just gone. She needs something fresh or something.
Yeah.
You guys fucked her up. This poor fucking nice old nature lady.
And honestly, all of that is backdrop to the plot of what is essentially a rescue mission.
It's borderline.
And also, like, the cult is crumbling, like, it's falling apart.
Yeah, there's a lot of infighting and shit.
The leadership is infighting, and the people of the cult are just kind of like, all right, fine. They're just like trying to live their lives and stuff. Really,
there's the one leader who's kind of softening and is kind of like starting to like let slip.
Yeah.
And there's the one guy who's like, nah, fuck that. Let's fucking keep it going.
We're about to really get the reason that this is failing is because we're not as regimented as we need to be. So I'm gonna kill the leader and then like really institute some
really go on this.
Yeah, put the boots to it. Put the shackles.
The
down.
supernatural shit's almost treated like a fucking straight Lovecraft reveal too, where he stumbles into it. It's fucking horrifying, but there's nobody really to explain enough.
They don't explain anything, really.
Yeah.
They kind of do through flashbacks, and it's mostly through your own inference about what
Apostle's got the great shot where he like cuts his finger and it falls onto the wood floor, and there's cuts to her like licking it up.
Dude, it was awesome. That was so good. And also it's a real slow burn.
Oh yeah,
too, because I almost forgot that there was like a blood eater in the floor.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like, oh shit, how's he gonna get his sister out of here?
Yo, remember that? There's that fucking rad scene
in the tunnel.
No, where it's early on when he ingratiates himself with the leader by accidentally saving him from the assassin.
Oh, he did right.
And that guy, the leader, is so badass about it. Where he's just like, he's getting him help and shit. And there's that part where he fucking cuts his hand.
He's
and
like, blood for blood.
He's like, you bleed for me, I bleed for you. I was like, dude, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's from Good Omens. He's in Good Omens.
He's super rad.
He struck me as like, this guy's got to be a Tolkien actor, but from the Hobbit era, not from Lord of the Rings, from the Hobbit.
Right,
he would like fit right in.
No, that guy. He's the quote good leader.
Yeah, like the gooder one.
Yeah, they're all kind of fucked
because they're all shit.
Well, there's the one who's like a good dude, but he's like with it, and then there's the guy who regrets it a lot, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
and then there's the bald fucker who's like.
There's three main guys. The one who's currently the leader, the prophet, and then there's the one who's the more tight, regimented, like more murderous guy, and then there's one who's just kind of like the lackey in there.
Right.
He
was the third dude on the boat when they crashed here.
He doesn't have the strength of will or character to do anything of note, so they just kind of like. But they're friends, so they're not just gonna like eschew him. So
of course.
But yeah, it was fucking great. It's mainly it was the same guy who directed the raids, the first two.
Yeah.
And because I had to look it up, I was like, dude, the camera angles are so fucking great. They do a lot of or like say somebody's prone on a table, the camera is on them, and they roll off the table, so the camera just like rolls with them. Lots of stuff like that. Cool little twists. They do a couple of those. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, they do the fisheye zooms.
Right.
Like where it's opening up but pulling back and zooming in at the same time. That type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well. The score was pretty good.
Right.
Mostly it was didn't stand out too much, but it was good for the good for this type of movie. Yeah, more notey.
Sure.
Not just like synth chords. There was actually some what felt like some out of tune mandolins and some broken piano keys going on, which is pretty classic horror nowadays. Which kind of made me worry a little bit at first.
Yeah.
Because like movies with scores like this
tend to
just not suck, but it's like, dude, another one of these motherfuckers. God damn it. But dude, the witch itself was pretty fucking well done because she wants to die.
Oh yeah,
she hates the position she's in.
She's just strapped to like a rack, like a table, like in this fucking hut.
Like there's like vines and shit growing out of her.
Yeah.
That was a cool effect too when they give her blood. Everything starts blooming for a second.
Yeah.
But it's really clear that it's just not enough anymore. But it used to be because there's a bunch of dead vines and trees and stuff coming out of her.
Yeah.
So it's like this used to be a really viable. This place was once a vibrant, like community of farmers that was like getting everything they needed and more they wanted for nothing. And then it's like as soon as it started to fade away, the panic is starting to set in now. Of like, oh shit, what are we gonna do?
Real life is over.
Exactly, which starts to the main prophet guy is like fighting this. It's like, no, it'll be good again. We just gotta like keep the faith and blah blah blah. And the crazy guy of the leaders is like, no, we're gonna fucking start from scratch. Yeah. And there's some real Puritan shit going on too with their fucking like torture drill rack.
Yeah, what do they call it? It has a fucking.
It's like the purifier or something like that.
It's I think it's like it's something like litany of something.
Oh,
I remember I heard it and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
and they don't. It doesn't show up right away. It's not till like they set it up.
Fuck?
They set it like first act, and then it's not till like the end that somebody gets thrown on that fucker.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of the third act. They really like you get to see it work. Yeah, I forget what it's called. It was something like that though. It was like the litany
something.
of light or something.
Yeah, it was some crazy shit.
Something that sounds pretty cool, but is menacing.
And they have a murder gimp that like lumbers around. Dude. That dude like the
with
basket head.
He's got like an iron beehive on his head.
So good.
It's cool as shit. Yeah, and they're like, well, the sister who's the main like MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Is like not shown a whole lot, you know, because they know because they have her ransom.
Yeah.
So they know that they're not just letting her be in the village. You know what I mean? They have her locked away.
Yeah.
And this guy has to be like, oh fuck, how am I gonna get her out of here?
You know, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah. There was some, let's see, I got my notes here. It doesn't really say anything. I should write like summaries for movies because it was like I wrote here, drug addict must infiltrate an island cult to find his sister who's being held for ransom. Shit goes sideways. It's like that's fucking...
That'd be like the summaries on the back of like Sweded VHS.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean it was really good. I recommend it highly. The Apostle, or is it just called Apostle? It's probably just called Apostle.
Yeah, I think it's just Apostle.
Not The Apostle. But yeah, it was fucking... Oh yeah. I enjoyed it thoroughly. More than I thought it would. It was one of those random ones that you just kind of like, this cover's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I need to watch a witch movie.
Say double recommend too, because I have seen it. It's fucking real rad.
Yeah. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, I will do the movie that hornswoggled me a bit. But it's fucking rad anyway. So...
To use a phrase like hornswoggle, it's not come lightly.
Well, I was trying to find at least two, because I was kind of skimping on the movies the last couple times. I was like, I want to get two in, so I got one that I know pretty well because I watched it, and then I was like, I'll look for a new one.
Right.
So I was like, movies about witchcraft. I was scrolling through, and
it's
then
what I do literally every week.
Oh yeah, and then I saw my boy Fred Ward, Mr. Tremors,
yes,
on the cover of a movie called Cast a Deadly Spell.
I know this movie.
1991.
I know this movie. It's a fucking magic noir story.
Have you seen Cast a Deadly Spell?
I have never seen it all the way through, and I fucking kicked myself for it because I had it saved on my fucking Amazon Prime list. But when all this coronavirus shit kicked off, all the streaming people locked all their content away behind their own paywalls.
Well,
now it's not free on Amazon anymore.
It is free on YouTube.
What?
Yep, the whole thing's on YouTube.
What?
I watched it on YouTube 2 days ago. It is rad. So the plot is very basic. It's just a guy steals a book who turns out to be the Necronomicon from another guy.
Every time.
It is but it's like a whodunit. He's trying to solve it, but you as the audience know the mystery right away because you saw the exchange of goods.
Oh, that's not good.
Well,
Deflates the whole thing.
It's not like the movie's not really about the mystery of it because, like you said, it is set in 1940s, but magic just is real, and there are monsters, and it's completely fucking commonplace. It's so fucking cool.
It's a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, except magic is cartoons.
There's this fucking bit at the beginning where Fred Ward is hanging out, and this detective comes over to talk to him about a murder, and he goes, "Yeah, I figured it out," and he holds out a little voodoo doll, and the guy he's talking to was like, he's like, "Man, you know, back in the day, you had to at least look a man in the eye when you killed him. You owed him that." And Fred Ward says, "Yeah, now all it takes now all you need is the nerve and the know-how, and you can do it with 6 knots and a piece of string. How's that for modern living?" And I was like, yes! I was like, yes. There's this fucking rad gargoyle that as soon as you see it, I'm like, that's alive. And then it's alive, and it attacks.
And it is.
It fucks people up. It's so cool.
That's awesome. How big is he?
He's like a person size.
Okay, all right.
There's fucking this old psycho farmer that Fred Ward talks to who, like, his tractor won't work, and he's like, "Man, I'm so sick of I'm so pissed off from the war. He brought all this shit back," and he opens his tractor, and there's gremlins in it, ripping wires and shit.
The war?
Yeah, like, because World War II. They brought him back.
Oh, okay. I thought it meant, like, there might have been, like, a war...
No, just
like,
World War II
versus magic. You know what I mean?
Just straight up.
That's
World War
even
II.
cooler. How it's like they were only in Germany, like gremlins or goblins. They
came back on the planes.
Yeah, exactly. Like in crates and stuff. With food.
And he's like sprays them with poison and shit. They all scatter. And he's so fucking wild. And
dude, I didn't know it was on YouTube. I gotta watch it now.
The whole movie's wild.
Like, awesome.
There's this fucking great bit where they he goes to the police station. You see like a vampire chick and a werewolf. And
nice.
They're all. It's just. The plot is so basic, and I was like, there is no witchcraft in this movie.
Well, no, that sounds like there's plenty of witchcraft.
His landlady is a cool voodoo lady.
Okay.
So that's kind of witchcraft. She has a great line where I can't even remember what the fuck she says, the first half of it, because it's like she's saying like old witchy poems.
Cool.
But then it ends with like, "But I would be in Miami if I had any money," and it rhymes the whole thing of it. But it's just this. There's this great bit when the gargoyle breaks down his door and roars, and Fred Ward's like, "Yeah, fuck you." He goes, "Fuck you, Lon Chaney." And I was like,
Chaney.
"Yeah,
nice
callback." It's so good. And Fred Ward refuses to use magic because he hates it on principle.
Well,
he thinks it's too easy.
That's fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit to a T, man.
Well, he's got a great bit too, where at the end he has a great closing speech about it, where he's just like, people, one day people will forget what it was like to do anything with consequence or like the pride of it being you, because now everything's just so fucking convenient with magic.
Oh,
and I'm like, yo, what is this fucking cool magic punk setting?
Did they call our current society with magic?
But it's fucking. I found it was an HBO TV movie too.
Oh,
I was
really?
Like, in the but you know what it is? I was like, this definitely has a low budget, but it's shot the like fucking beautiful, beautiful blue and orange like soundstage color bathes.
Oh,
that they
do.
Yeah.
The
movie's gorgeous looking for being a TV movie.
Well, that's what you got to do if you're in if you're putting noir in color like that. You got to do those hard. Those sunset it's always in LA.
Yeah,
it's got to be LA. And there's you got a dude dressed like Dick Tracy. Gotta have some diners. Yeah. Oh, does a sultry vixen bring him into the situation?
There are 3 sultry vixens.
Ooh, that's 2. Oh man,
no. There's his ex. There's his ex.
Of course.
There's one who decks a dude early on who turns out to be another dude in drag. That's a big twist.
Oh shit.
There's the virgin lady whose dad is like super protective of her.
Of course.
Big. I mean, whatever. Not like that big of a plot twist, but you find out that By the way, the class is perfect. The cast is like Clancy Brown's in there and Fred Ward, and it's full of those guys.
Clancy Brown in prosthetic makeup?
No.
Oh man,
he's got a Doctor Strange goatee though. He looks pretty rad.
Cool. That's awesome. I love Clancy Brown in makeup.
They straight up summon.
Did you ever see there's a movie where he played Frankenstein? I think.
No.
Oh fucking! What was it? Clancy, I think it was Clancy Brown that played Frankenstein. If it wasn't him, it fucking should have been.
Right.
Where it was, oh fuck.
He'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. I can't remember the name.
Let him wax poetically for 2 hours.
Because I'm pretty sure it was just on TV this past Halloween. Fuck, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll Google it while you're talking.
Yeah, their plot. The plot mostly comes down to they're trying to summon. I think, they're trying to summon Yog-Sothoth and shit.
Ain't that always the way?
Oh, ain't that just the way? There's this great bit where, they need a virgin, and it turns out that the dad who's overprotective of his kid, is in on it, and he wanted his daughter pure so he could sacrifice her.
Oh.
There's this great bit, though, where they fail. They summon this big fucking monster. It looks okay. It goes to eat her, but then it rejects her, it tosses her, and eats her dad, and then just disappears. And they're all like, what the fuck happened?
It was The Bride.
Oh, okay.
The Bride, where Sting plays Dr. Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That was a good movie, too. I knew I seen it. I'm not crazy, man.
Yeah, but they do a fun twist where you're like, why did the elder thing not take the virgin sacrifice? It turns out that one of Fred Ward's buddies was just fucking the 16-year-old on the side.
Oh no!
And it's great because he's like, you fucking this girl, and he's like, don't tell anybody. Oh yeah, Fred Ward plays a guy named Phil Lovecraft. That's like, he's literally in the credits H. Philip Lovecraft, and it's kind of like, all right.
That's a little on the nose.
Yeah,
huh?
a little too much.
Yeah,
they're dealing with Necronomicon and shit. At first, because him paying his rent is a big thing, he has a Necronomicon at the end of the movie. I was like, they better not have him be like, I'll write some of this down and pay my rent.
Oh, dude.
But no, they don't do that.
I would fucking vomit.
He does have a straight up, Men in Black K moment at the end where he's like...
My favorite person on the planet
He's
Earth.
like, these people, everybody around here, he said something like, nobody here knows how far away they were from biting it yesterday.
Right.
And he's like, and nobody's ever going to appreciate it because, it's great because he's like, now I've got the book.
Very noir.
Like, yeah.
Very noir.
But it's this great, and when he finds out his partner or his buddy was banging the girl, he's like, you just saved the whole planet and you're worried about your wife finding out you're banging a 16-year-old? and then she's like, you were married? And he's like, yeah, don't tell anybody, please.
please, God.
It's like, hell yeah. What the fuck? It's a fun movie.
It sounds great.
It's really, the plot really doesn't fucking matter. It's not really like a mystery or something that you're going to be heavily engaged with. It's all performance. It's all how good the practical effects kind of look. It's just fucking rad.
Well, it's one of those movies, it sounds like, where they try to do it more nowadays and it fails more. Where you have a really basic plot because you have all this cool shit to hang on it. And that now they just have a really basic plot and everything they hang on it is also basic and stupid. Yeah. So it just nosedives into the dirt and
they take it perfect. You know what they do? They wouldn't do nowadays. They take it completely seriously.
Oh, good.
They don't wink about it.
There's no Marvel jokes.
I mean, you get close with something when he says fuck you, Lon Chaney. But that's more, you're a monster, you're gross.
Yeah, which means that Lon Chaney exists in the world and was playing monsters. I wonder if monsters were offended by that.
Oh, man. Right?
Why didn't you get a real vampire?
Yeah, Shadow.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Bela Lugosi. Why didn't you get a real wolf man? That's what I meant to say.
But yeah, that's Cast a Deadly Spell. Very surprising. Not really much to do with witchcraft. There is a witch in it. His landlady is a voodoo lady.
Fuck you.
The internet lied to me. Yeah. I guess if you're dealing with the Necronomicon, you're getting into occult stuff.
Yeah, magic.
It borderline counts.
Whatever, dude. Cool. Yeah. I wanted to watch it. It was on my Amazon list forever, and I just never got around to it. Yeah. And then I had to go through my Amazon list because I noticed a thing on there wasn't free anymore. So I was like, fuck me. Now I got to go through my list and be like, which one's free, which one's not. They took all the old school. They had I understand that HBO doesn't want to show me like True Detective or Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah.
But they used to have all of Deadwood on there. They had all the Sopranos.
Oh, the second the Deadwood movie was coming out, that shit got yanked.
Oh man, and it was fucking coronavirus, dude.
Oh yeah,
because everybody sits at home and now they're all streaming because of the lockdown orders and whatnot. Just the stay-at-home advisory. It's not a lockdown order here in the U.S. really, but especially in Florida.
It's barely a fucking lockdown suggestion.
Yeah, for real. But they, as soon as everybody was streaming a bunch of shit more, they were like, wait a minute, why do we need everybody to be paying 16 subscription services instead of just, make it free with ads? Amazon was doing that a bunch, and it's fine. It's better than watching TV. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm just super bitter about it.
It's on YouTube in full and good quality too.
Oh, awesome, dude! I'm probably doing that when I get home.
It's super fun. Only like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a short one. That's why I was mad I didn't have access to it anymore, because it was just one of those things. I took it for granted. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. Look what happens. Fucking pricks. Corporate interests. Ain't that some shit? Anyway. My turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Was this your bad one?
It wasn't bad.
Not as good one.
But it was not as good as Apostle. No, it was called,
What is? Apostle will probably be the best movie we talk about at all tonight.
You think? It was very good.
I mean, the movie, my next movie, I like it a lot, but it's no fucking Apostle. Apostle, blew me away.
It was, I like movies that are unexpected awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking killer. Especially when most things now are just like 80% of the shit you watch is like, dude, this is a fucking waste of time.
Solid 6 or 7 out of 10 at best. And you're just kind of like,
which is like, it's not
bad, but
bad enough. It's not bad enough to turn off, but it's not good enough to remember either.
Yeah.
So, and it makes you, when something comes up in real life and it makes you think of something, all day you're going like, what is that from? Because the movie wasn't memorable enough to remember it fully, but it's still in your brain because nothing ever gets dumped. So, I got issues, man. I got issues. Anyway, it was called Don't Knock Twice, the second movie.
Yeah.
And it's got the girl, I forget her name, Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, hey, man. It's a family show.
Well, I'm telling you what her name is,
I'm familiar with Don't Knock Twice, though.
It was all right. It was fine.
Sure.
It's got, Katie Sackhoff, who is the blonde, I think she was a fighter pilot lady in Battlestar Galactica.
Right.
And she's also Bo-Katan from The Mandalorian.
Oh, like old Bo-Katan?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I think she was the voice, too, in whatever show she was on.
Right on. I didn't know that.
I think. But, because I Googled her when I saw her in The Mandalorian, I was like, where do I fucking know this lady from?
Right.
And Googled her, and it was like, yeah, she played Bo-Katan. I think she did at least some of the voice, and also Battlestar, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's pretty much... Katie Sackhoff is a recovering addict who has to get her daughter out of what seems to be foster care because she knew that her addiction, which they never say what to, they always just say you were high of some kind. So it might be like, it seems like it might be cocaine or something because it's like a party drug.
Right.
Of some kind. So...
that checks.
Yeah, right. Anyway, they got to, she is all better now, and she's doing well. She's married to a guy who's a banker, so he's super loaded. She is an artist, and her sculptures are selling like a motherfucker.
Right.
So they're, like, really, really well off. And she's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna finally can go get my daughter back. But her daughter's like, hey, fuck you, you abandoned me. Right. So I'm not super pleased about this situation. Which is kind of the backdrop to there's an old house in the middle of some sort of clearing that used to be a block, I think, or a stretch of houses that they demolished everything but this little, looks like the one guy from Harry Potter's house, the like really thin, tall house.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a rule, you can't knock twice on this lady's door. But
3 times.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, don't stop at 2.
Just keep going.
What happens at 3? There's rules that they don't explain. But they, so the daughter and her, I don't think boyfriend, but her, like, friend who is a boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? They've been friends for a long time. They go and they're like, hey, you're gonna go to the fucking house, dude. Check this out and knock on it twice. Ha ha. Aren't you gonna do it too, you pussy? And she's like, yeah, and goes up there and clock, knocks on it too. It makes a really fucking dramatic camera fucking goom.
Right, because this is the most important thing.
Because it's the one. It's pretty fucking intense.
They don't even do like a fun, like, she goes to do it, she gets like one in, and somebody goes, hey, Sarah, and she stops on the second one, you're like, ugh.
No, I was wanting that.
See, that would have been a movie.
Exactly, yeah, right. That's like super clear. Or she wasn't gonna do it twice, but then somebody calls and she goes, what? And drops the knocker, and then it knocks her for the second time. So it was an accidental thing.
Ooh, and then it really makes the morality of everything questionable.
Exactly, right. But there is definitely some questionable morality in this movie. Because there's... Alright, so the guy who the mom is married to now, she goes on a business trip. Or he goes on a business trip. And which leaves the estranged mother and daughter in the house together. Right? With the mom really trying to mend a relationship that is her fault, that is broken, and the daughter having fucking none of it. Doesn't want anything to do with this mom.
Sure.
And and understandably too, because it sounds like she was a fucking real piece of shit.
Right.
But she was not a piece of shit enough to be like, all right, my shit's getting out of hand. I'm just gonna leave my daughter with somebody else. But of course, some resentment comes with that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
It's like parents who suck like that have a weird fucking like, no, you're my kids.
Well, see, that's the thing. I got no problem with if you're sick in such a way.
Sure.
Being like,
I can't.
It's not safe for my kid to be around.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you got your own issues to work out, and it's not good for a kid to be around when you work them out, I fully support, okay, find something to do with the kid, because the kid doesn't know fucking shit from shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just going to be part of its development was be around this fucking horse shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's, like you said, those people who go, no, everything's fine. I can handle it. And then then you get Matilda.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so the witch who lives in this house, right? Turns out it's a witch. I don't know if I mentioned that up top, but it's some lady who's a witch.
Let's make a horror movie called "Turns Out It's a Witch."
Turns out it's a witch. Wouldn't you know it? You know what I mean? Turns out it's a witch 2, wouldn't you know it?
Wouldn't you know it?
Yeah,
Turns out it's a witch 3, wouldn't you know it, you hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Witchcraft.
Witchcraft?
Yeah, Witchcraft 3, turns out it's a witch. Who knew?
Who'da thunk?
Who'da thunk it? The guy gets taken right away. The boy who knocked, gets fucking jacked, like, immediately. And so now the daughter is like, oh my god, it's coming for me. And the mom is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Some shit starts happening around the house.
Classic.
And
never believe your kids.
I know, it's horrible. But it's a little more Netflix original movie than the other one was. Because it's like, really nothing is happening for a long time, but you get little tastes of stuff. There's like a couple jump scares that aren't like super earned.
Yeah.
But the budget was spent well, and the effects are pretty cool. The witch herself, when she's like crawling around, looks awesome, because they bring in some Baba Yaga shit.
Oh, neat.
But what I don't like is that they say a Baba Yaga, which I think you can't have a Baba Yaga. That's like having a Dracula.
I'm gonna Google that.
Baba Yaga is a lady. Like, it's a singular entity, as far as I was aware.
Yeah, that's how I often remember it.
Yeah, I'm no fucking expert in.
But they even did that. That's interesting though. They even did that. They did that in John Wick, where they kind of like they used Baba Yaga as a stand-in for just the word boogeyman.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a thing.
Yeah, you're right. It was in John Wick. It was always like, I mean, he's not a witch.
Baba Yaga.
What are you talking about? But then again, I learned about Baba Yaga from Hellboy. Yeah. So like, it was always just some old lady in a chicken leg house who's friends with Rasputin.
Oh. In Slavic lore, the Baba Yaga is a supernatural being, or a trio of sisters of the same name, who appears as a deformed so it could
like in Hercules, the ladies who share the eye.
Yeah, I guess it's just it's like Slavic version of the Fates or something. But that little brief thing implies that I guess sometimes they're it's multiples.
Yeah.
That's interesting,
Yeah,
I guess.
Yes. Yeah, well.
Yeah. It's usually just one, because Hellboy's the best.
Yeah, for sure. Where it's like Rasputin's grandma is the Baba Yaga or something like that.
There's a chapter just in the middle of one of the stories where they just are being like, "What's up, grandson?" He's like, "Hey, grandma."
He's like, this did not go well.
Didn't go as I thought it was gonna go. I did not expect to be dead.
Dude, those early Hellboys are awesome, man. I gotta read through Hellboy again.
All Hellboy is awesome.
I haven't done it in a while. There, some shit is happening around the house. You've seen a movie like this 1,000 times, where it's like the daughter is telling the mom that there's something going on supernatural. The mom's like, whatever the fuck, but their relationship is strained anyway, and shit starts like happening a little bit here and there. The girl will be like, why is there blood coming out of the faucet? And then, I can't get out of the door. But then somebody opens the door from the other side, turn around, it's a regular sink, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this sounds bad.
So it wasn't bad. I'm playing it up.
It was competent, but
it was very competent. There's a really cool shot, actually, before the young guy gets taken by the Baba Yaga. And it's like a really fucking cool. It goes down like the hallway of his apartment and like through his door. It's like twisting in a really cool dreamlike way, and it's like making your head a little bit swimmy because it's going all the way around and stuff. It was a fucking really interesting shot. But I mean, it's mainly jump scares, man. I'm just like, dude, you really gotta do those right, or they suck. Like, really
it's a clear sign that they couldn't get atmosphere down.
Yeah,
so they had to keep you like.
And plus, when you're like, when the filmmaking is competent, but the like script isn't great and the acting isn't great,
right?
But the guy, like, the fucking cinematography is really tight and the direction is very good. It's just like I said, the acting and the script are the weakest point of this movie.
Sure.
And since that's the skeleton on which your film hangs, it's not,
I mean, scripts are always a weird thing. I would argue something, maybe a hot take, but like you could argue that like They Live has a garbage script. Like that movie is about like aliens using TV to like it's there, and there's no plot, none of the characters develop.
Not really, no.
It's one of those like things, but that movie is so fucking carried by like the direction and the style,
the acting,
and some of the like because it's Roddy Piper, he's fucking on it, and Keith David,
so good, so good,
and most of the acting in the movie isn't that good. It's like Keith David,
it's just right,
Roddy Piper, and the one guy who's leading the resistance, that fat dude in the camo jacket.
Oh yeah.
They are on it the whole way.
But even so, it's like they're not like. I wouldn't even call it necessarily like
they nail
traditionally
like
good
acting.
acting.
It's a B movie action tone.
Right.
They have like a bravado about them.
Yes.
It feels great.
It's not good acting. It's correct acting for what they're doing.
100%.
That's what sells it.
Yeah.
Did he ever do any other movies, Roddy Piper?
Probably.
He's got to be. He's in Always Sunny for a little bit.
Oh yeah, Maniac.
But yeah. But let's see. What does it say here? Overall, my overall take from this movie is it's fine. Filmmaking's pretty good. There is one really good. Okay, so after it's confirmed that some fucking witch shit is going down, the mom is like, "All right, we're fucking in this thing," and they take all the doors off the hinges because there's some magic with doors going on. That she like, opening and closing doors she can come through them somehow, or I forget. But they take all the doors off the hinges, put them in the fucking lawn, and light them bitches on fire. And there's an awesome shot that's like totally Nicholas Winding Refn type shot, where it's got like this cool, like weird ambient dark wave, synthwave shit happening, and a slow zoom on just their silhouette standing in front of the fire. It's like, cool. I was like, yo, am I watching fucking...
what is this?
Never Too Young to Die or whatever it is, or Too Old to Die Young, but or Neon Demon.
Is this fucking Only God Forgives?
Yeah, dude, Neon Demon actually came up when I typed in Witchcraft.
It's about witches.
I mean, kind of.
I thought about it. I mean, it is.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's a coven of 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's at least confirmed, I think, by Refn that the main one is like a witch, and the other 2 are roped into it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that it comes out at the end that it was like
they're like legit
kind of witchcraft the whole time, but it was like, I don't know, I just didn't, when I read that I was like, I don't know, but yeah, I guess technically it is like modern LA witchcraft in the modeling industry.
It's a rad.
I fucking
cool movie.
love that movie. It was really good. There's a song in there called "Demon Dance."
Yeah,
that's fucking killer. Where was I at? Oh yeah, because it was the Nicholas
They were
Winding
burning
shot.
the doors.
They were burning doors. There's a really cool shot of they have a lamb statue in their garden area. And there's a shot where she looks outside and it's got like a red silk blindfold on it. And I was like, that's a cool image.
It's also fucking spooky.
Yeah, it's a cool fucking... There's some fairly effective horror in it. You just gotta like... You know, if you're anything like me, and I know you at least are, is like, all right, enough with the fucking jump scares, okay?
Oh yeah, because like that's just garbage.
They don't really work, you know? They might get, if I'm in the right state of mind, they'll get just the visceral, like, reaction, but that's
startling.
That's not horror. It was just quiet and then loud right away. You know what I mean? My body went, what was that? That was it.
That shot in Hereditary, where he looks up and there's the two old naked people just waving at him in the attic, is way scarier
than any jump scare. Absolutely.
And it's just, he goes, ah! Oh, fuck, that movie's so good too.
There was, yeah, I mean, we honestly don't have to go further.
Oh,
into
nothing really happened.
I mean, it's fine. It's a fine movie.
Sure.
The performance, but like I said, the weakness of it was the script and the acting.
Right.
And those weren't even bad, so to say. They were just even keeled. They were lackluster. But the filmmaking itself, there was a bunch of score and lighting and camera moves that I was like, it kept me in. I didn't shut it off. I was engaged enough to see where it went.
Sure.
So, and that was pretty much it. You know?
Right.
Don't knock twice. Guess what? I'm not fucking as many times as I want. Tell me how many times to knock.
Knock all day, baby.
You fucking movie. You're just a movie. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. No, that sounds fine. I mean,
it was fine.
Second movie I decided to cover is I didn't rewatch it, but I have watched it. It's called The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I know this movie.
And if you haven't seen it, spoilers, because I'll be talking about it. Because it's old, and honestly, it's
not that old.
It's, but
what, like maybe 10 years on now?
No, maybe sooner than that. I don't know.
You think?
I think so.
Seems like a 2010 neighborhood.
I think it might be 2014 or 16. But yeah, so The Autopsy of Jane Doe stars Brian Cox, Mr. Stryker himself.
Yes.
And some other people. I don't care.
It was 2016. Yeah.
Oh, nailed it.
You sure did.
So
you sure did, man.
It is a movie. Brian Cox runs a funeral home. He cadavers and
a mortuary.
He tends to the cadavers as they do.
Yeah,
and his son is in the business, and they have a long night ahead of him. His son's like, "I'll help you close up before I go on my date." So there's steaks, I guess, but they get
like on his date. They're going to get steaks.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, so
delicious.
They have one last body to deal with, and it is a woman who is perfect, perfectly porcelain white, there's no blemishes, no scarring, no.
Right.
And Brian Cox is like, what?
Why is she dead?
Yeah, what happened?
Right.
And they said that they found her buried in a cellar, and everybody in the house was dead. either mangled or shot up. Something happened in this house. Violent crime happened in this cellar.
Right.
And everybody's all fucked up. But they found this lady fine.
Okay.
In that she looked like she was buried in that cellar. So they're like,
oh, she was in the cellar underground?
Yes.
They buried her in there?
Seemingly. Or dug her up.
Right, whichever.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mystery a bit, but
Sure.
So they set about checking her, looking for different checking her fingernails, checking her teeth, checking her eyes. She's got real bad cataracts and shit.
Oh, so he's a coroner then, not a mortician.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's both.
Okay, sure. I'd imagine there's some crossover in those fields. Yeah.
I think he gets asked specifically as a favor of somebody like a cop, like the sheriff or something.
Okay.
Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and he's like, sure. And the first act's real solid because it's just them they cut her open, they open her up, and Brian Cox is like, that's weird. And his son's like, what? And he's like, her lungs are all fucking scorched, she was set on fire, but
Right.
Nothing's wrong with her.
But there's no burns.
They find that her bones have... they find that every bone in her body seems to have been broken at some point, but are all healed.
It's mended now?
And yeah,
do they fucking rub her ear and it like their face opens up and there's an Archelian in there?
And then K and J show up?
Yeah.
Like, God, this keeps happening. You think we'd have a system to intercept these fucking bodies?
The goddamn Archelians, yeah.
But yeah, it's
Will Smith starts hitting on Brian Cox. Like, the body. Great body. The dead body.
Yeah, the dead body. But it's Brian Cox.
That's awesome.
He blows the cockroach away at the end of the movie. He's
Yeah.
like, so.
Interesting job you guys have here.
But yeah, so he it's a fun mystery of like what's going down, and then spooky shit starts happening.
Nice.
So yeah, they I think there's one point they go into her stomach too. They find a little pouch with like one of her molars in it.
Cool.
And they're like, what the fuck is
pouch?
this?
They find the missing molar in her mouth.
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's missing a tooth, and there's a little leather pouch. At least I think it's her tooth. There's like a little parchment. There's a bunch of crazy shit.
Right, that she ate.
It just keeps building up this like what's going on.
Okay.
And they slowly suss out that this lady must have been tried and executed for witchcraft.
Right.
They were like all the shit, the little pouch, the fucking brakes, they stoned her, they like did the fucking rocks and wheel
starts
shit.
Adding up.
Yeah, they're like,
but why is she so well preserved?
You know, why is she preserved? They start noticing that shit starts like her eyes start clearing up and shit. Like stuff that was bad is now fine.
Oh, that's not good. Get out of there. Get out of there, run away.
And then weird shit starts happening. A storm hits, knocks out the power. They can't quite leave. A tree literally falls and blocks the only door out of this building, and they just can't get out.
That's not good.
Well, for a bit, the elevator's down. Like, they're in a basement, like a sub-basement of this building.
Yeah. Well, it's colder down there. Yeah. They got to keep the bodies.
So they can't get out, and because there's no stairs.
Right.
And like some of the cadavers start walking around. It turns into
she's a fucking necromancer.
Seemingly,
goddamn.
It's very atmospheric, very spooky, very solid. They don't do jump scares too often. They do great shit where you just see like looming presence.
Oh sure.
They don't go loud. The guy just kind of turns and there's nothing there. And
that was something classic that Don't Knock Twice did too. Was like there's a lot of someone walking down a hallway toward camera, and someone in the background like walks.
Yeah,
like you know.
There's a great bit where they're in a room together and they hear one of the cadavers has like a bell on him or something.
Oh,
I can't remember if it's on him or something else. I remember very vividly though. They hear it. They hear it. Ding! And they're like,
oh, that dead dude's up.
And they hear it like bling, bling, and then like they see the feet go right to the door they're in the room they're in, and they're just standing there for a while.
Yeah.
And then it just walks away, and they open the door, nothing's there, and they're just like,
I think he's gone.
It's a really cool, and then they don't do a jump scare. They don't do it. It comes at them out of nowhere.
Right,
it just never comes back.
Oh shit.
But it does. It's real good about building up. It's real fun. Yeah, they start getting into like what she could have done like to deserve it. They kind of find out that there was a lot of debate about whether or not she did do anything wrong.
Right.
And that's
a common thing too in certain ones of these movies is like, you know, it's this witch quote unquote is only a threat because it got accused of being a witch,
right?
And you kind of have to figure out that she was falsely accused to kind of alleviate.
Like vengeance at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's a vengeful spirit rather than an actual like witch.
Yeah, and that's my only real. I guess the only thing that really keeps the movie from being like amazing to me is kind of the ending. Well, they kind of like. They're kind of worried. I know the kid's girlfriend shows up at some point and he accidentally kills her.
Ooh, very Strangers. Remember when they blow Dennis's head off in The Strangers? That was a good movie too, The Strangers.
And so it's all sad. And then Brian Cox is like, I don't know what to do. He's like, you know what? Take me. Fucking let the kid go. And then she does to him everything that happened to her. Like, all his bones and shit start snapping. Real nice scene. He fucking starts burning up. It's fucking rad.
Sounds cool.
He goes blind. His cataracts go. And she, like, perfectly heals while he's getting burned up.
Oh.
And you're like, cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then the kid's like, oh, okay, so everything's back to normal. I'll leave. And then he gets murdered by, I think, his dead girlfriend or something. I can't remember. One of the cadavers murders him. And then some people show up, find the scene. They put her in a car to transfer the body. And a song. They do a Jeepers Creepers thing where a song keeps popping up on the radio.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it pops up in the ambulance.
Right, the weather changes. So it's pretty, or the weather changes, the radio changes.
And you're like, oh, it's one of those things where they try to be like double twist. She actually just fucking hates the world and wants everybody to suffer.
It's the ending of Jumanji.
I kind of felt like, I was like, that's not satisfying in a weird way. I was like, I don't care that she's evil. I kind of was like invested in like this emotional plot.
Right.
And it's like, nah, she's bad. It felt like they ran out of time. They didn't know what to do with the ending.
And they're like, no, she was evil.
She kills everybody.
Right.
But it's fine. It's real good. It's a real good mystery.
I would like it better. It takes away any journey that you've been on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, what, did she just trick you into feeling bad for her so you would give yourself up?
And there's a whole thing with like the dad and the son like really like accepting that like the son's moving on, doesn't want to be here anymore, and the dad's like, you're right, I gotta let you go.
Sure.
Like, I've been kind of crazy since your mom died. Like, there's a whole journey.
Sure.
It's like cathartic. And then it just gets stripped away. And it felt kind of hollow.
Yeah, it sounds like there's an emptiness to it that kind of...
But it's a fun movie.
Which,
up to that point.
Yeah, you always hate a movie when it's like, maybe it wasn't great, you know, but it was like, you know what, I see what you were doing and you performed it well. And then they try and pull a twist out, and it's like, dude, why did you just fucking pull the rug out from under this, like, fine experience that you just took?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't life-changing or anything, but it was totally fine. I was enjoying my time. I'm happy I watched it. And then you... just try and be a cool twist. You try and Shyamalan it, and then you took all the fucking air out of my balloon, you piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have to do for the movies we watched.
Yeah. Essentially. Pretty much.
Essentially. And we covered a bit of the real life stuff, but let's move on to that.
Some real life
I
stuff.
will start with one. This is an interesting one. It's not exactly... Forgive me. It is not exactly a witch in the woods, but it is related to a witch in the woods.
Oh.
It is, and I'm trying to blank on the name. It's like something like the Bog Witch Stone. So these guys...
Bog Witch is a fucking cool name
100%.
for a band. It's like a doom band, like a stoner doom band.
But so this guy, I can't remember I don't think he found it. Somebody found it. It's like, you ever see those like Mesopotamian, like old, like those fat lady statues, the big old titties?
Yeah, like the big old looking ones?
Yeah, the big old fertility goddesses.
Yeah.
It's like a little squat, like mossy, ugly little woman statue.
That they found in
this guy, they found it, like, you remember in True Detective season 3 when they go into the woods and there's that, like, kind of like, it's not like a cave, but it's under some rocks and up on like a shelf.
Yeah, like a little
They
alcove.
found it like in one of those.
That is, get the fuck away from
and they
there.
brought it home, and he said the guy that gave it,
they moved it?
they took it. Yeah.
That's not good. Don't do that.
And the guy brought it home, and he said every night he's been hearing thumping, shit's been moved, and the statue keeps moving to the living room. He doesn't know how it gets there, and so he gives it to this guy who owns like an antiques like relic, not like a relic shop, but it's like he loves collecting old junk.
Sure.
So this guy's like hype about it. He's like, I want to see what happens. And is his like him talking about like he woke up to every night he could hear that thing dragging around the house. Dude. He said one night he very clearly heard it going room to room, like ooh, into one. He could hear it, and then it would come back out and go to the next one. But every time he opened the door, it wasn't where he heard it last. It was where he had left it. So he's just like, okay.
So wait, so it can teleport?
Maybe.
It just doesn't.
It just wants to fuck with you.
It just, yeah.
But yeah, he documents a lot of like every room he puts it in starts smelling like old mildew and must, and he just can't. He brings a guy in, and they're like, "You have no mold problem. There's not even moisture. Like you have a bust pipe you don't know about. And they never find anything. This thing just like molds like the air in the room it's in.
That's awesome.
It's fucking super cool. He's like. He finds nothing about it. He's like, I don't know what this thing is. Nothing historically matches its description. I don't know who this represents. I don't know what the fuck this rock thing is.
That is awesome.
But it's fucking my house up, and it's making my shop smell like shit.
Couldn't have moved it from the bog.
Yeah, and I don't remember if they put it back or if he just puts it. I think they might bring it back. I can't remember how that ends. I just know there's a lot of fun, like him documenting like everything he was like observing about it.
I gotta look this up now.
It's
you
cool.
didn't do research. You're supposed to tell me all that had happened, and you're just like, I don't know, they put it back or something. I forget. Statue's alive, though.
I can't remember. It was like 2 weeks ago when I found it, and I was like, this is neat, and then I didn't go back to it.
I forget. Figure it out. Look it up. What's it called? I don't know.
I'll find. I'll link it to you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but what about the listeners, Matt?
The listeners, I'll link it in the description.
I'll link it in the description with the time codes.
We're professionals.
Yeah, professionals, dude. We're doing good. I mean, it sounds cool. I mean, the living statues. Okay, look. If you're in a nature environment, out on a hike or camping or whatever, and you find something clearly man-made like that out there, you leave it the fuck alone.
100%.
You just leave it alone. Unless you have some sort of like a contract to go get it, like you're a treasure hunter of some kind.
Sure.
Then, you have a little bit of leave to take it. But even though those treasure hunters get murked all the time by mummy curses and, ancient Mesopotamian statues full of ghosts and whatnot, Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's just it just comes with the territory, though, I bet.
Right.
It's just kind of a thing you got to cope with when you're adventuring. But if you're about that life, and you got the balls to take that statue. I said, actually, my buddy Charlie, Charlie,
of course,
he bought a gravestone somewhere, like a legitimate gravestone from the 1800s, put it in his house, and like weird shit started happening. Charlie was like seeing stuff. Said he woke up, there was just a lady floating above his bed and shit.
Put that bag.
And somebody told him to burn sage and put it in a certain star pattern, like a pentangle, right? Mm-hmm. But he said, I think I fucked up and did it backwards and made it worse. And like all bunch of shit was happening. He was and he was just having, I don't remember if his wife was pregnant or he had just had his first kid or whatever, but he was like, I can't fucking be having no goddamn 1800s Civil War ghost in my house. I gotta get rid of this thing. And I think he gave it to Ripley's when he was working for him. And it's still there. I think they just... So there's a real life one for you that I just now remembered and thought of. Fucking... should I say one?
Sure.
I don't really have a whole lot of real life ones. No. There's a couple of them that I knew about, but I was like, I don't know. There was one that really cracked me up. It was when they were filming Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. They had a witch consultant, to try and make the movie at least a little
right
legit for the witch community, I guess.
Of course.
And so they brought her out there. They paid her fucking pretty good. And but they put her up in a hotel room, and when they called her up, she was like, you think you can buy me off of the hotel room? I want a slice of the movie. I want a fucking cut of this whole movie. And they were like, no, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm going to put a curse on this whole fucking movie. And according to the filmmaker, that's why the movie bombed, was because of a witch's curse that got put on it. And it wasn't because it was like some sort of shitty, like, sister comedy, I think, with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
Right.
That are fighting over a man, I think.
Ain't that just the way?
I forget.
You hate to see it.
You do hate to see
What's that thing? Fuck, what was it? It's like the not Rutgers test, but it's that thing where it's...
is it the Bechdel test or is that a robot thing?
I think it's Is it No, fuck.
That might be a robot thing, the Bechdel test. I forget. Well, there's the Turing test. I think it is the Bechdel test.
Yeah, where it's women who can do things in a movie that aren't just talking about a man.
How long it takes for two women characters to not talk about the men in the movie or show.
Yeah.
And a lot of things fail it. Well, Most things fail it. 90% of things fail it.
But, it's unfair a lot of time because it's like 50% of the population are men. It's not fair to have...
Yeah, but you don't have the...
You don't have to, yeah.
You don't have the men characters alone, like, bring up a woman, like, second sentence in.
They should.
You know what I mean? I think everybody should be mentioning everybody all the time.
Yeah. We gotta check in with you.
Yeah.
Aliens fails the Bechdel test. It's not fair. It's such a girl power movie as fuck.
Does it? It doesn't fail the Bechdel test, does it? I have to watch it
I don't think two women talk in that movie, though.
Well, there's only the two women.
I don't think Vasquez really talks to Ripley.
Are you talking about aliens?
Aliens.
Oh, yeah, but she barely counts as a woman.
No.
You know what I mean?
She's never been mistaken for a man.
She's the epitome of, like...
That lady is
soldier
yeah,
lady.
Vasquez is so weird because she's so masculine and tough, and then you watch Terminator 2 and you're just like, that's a mom.
Yeah.
You don't even know it's not the. You don't even know it's the same lady.
You don't even know it's the same
lady.
lady.
It took me till I was like 17, and I finally one day was like,
is that fucking
had a perfect fit? Yeah.
Is that?
They should have made the stepdad should have been Bill Paxton, right? Like just to fucking really or get Drake.
Yeah, dude, Bill Paxton is the only person to be killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and an alien.
Correct.
Bill Paxton was the fucking man, dude.
No, you know what? Wait, is this Bill Paxton? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Bill Paxton is one of the punk teens in the first Terminator.
Dude, it's a shame because Lance Henriksen doesn't technically die to an alien because he would also be there.
He doesn't get killed by a Predator.
Yeah, an AVP.
Really?
Yeah.
He gets killed by a Predator. I thought he get killed by an alien because he's
no, the Predator killed him.
He's Wayland, is he not?
Yeah. No, he flamethrowers a Predator and gets blasted.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, in Aliens, I guess because he doesn't die.
He doesn't die. I mean, is he alive? Really? That's a whole.
That's it's a whole thing. If you throw a washing machine down a cliff, like, did you kill it?
I got a really interesting one. Because when I was doing this, most of the ones I found were ladies who, like, there was one, I think her name was like Simpton. She's the basis for the character in The Witch in Good Omens, because she's like she was like a Nostradamus of her day. She was doing a lot of prophecies, and that's kind of why she got hit. A lot of like real witch stories are poor women who were too smart for their age getting murdered for it.
You know what? It's what fucking really sucks.
Or, before this one, I'll actually say there's a lot of cool, I think it's in Brazil. There's a lot of, like, rad, shitty, shaky cam, like, we ran into a witch in the woods stuff.
There's a bunch of... Dude!
One of the cops finding her out in the woods, and she keeps, like... She's, like, just aimlessly pacing around back and forth.
The one where they start walking toward... Those are cops?
There's one where it's
the same video that I'm thinking of that's, like, really horrifying.
Yeah.
It's like a lady in like white shawls with like really long black hair, like the ring hair. Correct. Those are cops.
There's one of those where it's cops, dude,
and the cops
and they keep backing up because every now and then she like shuffles fast at them.
Dude, that's
fuck that.
That's a
and they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
That's a great video.
There's another one from the same area where they don't see anything, but he's walking. They're like walking down like a trail, and he just starts hearing somebody screaming. Dude. Like horribly, and he keeps going, and he gets to one of those gates that's like no trespassing. Like he's getting near a lake, I think.
Okay.
And you can clear. It's like it's 20 feet that way, and he's like,
what do
he's
I
speaking
do?
like South America, it's like Brazilian,
Portuguese,
and you're just like, fuck, dude, run, dude. Vominos children, get out of there.
Yeah, right. No shit. Those videos are effective as fuck. I like that video a lot.
Super fun.
Dude, if they're fake, that guy does a fucking killer job.
Oh yeah,
very, very good. Because those freak me out. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Dude, yeah.
It's probably one of the scariest.
Because it's only headlights lighting it.
Yeah, dude.
There's so much of that.
The way it moves,
she's just
man.
it's like shuffling around.
It walks like E.T.
Yeah.
Fucking E.T. You know what I mean? Oh shit. It's E.T. in the wig, but it's like it's all wet now because it got out of the house. And then there's just got rained on a bunch.
I love those videos because it's like aimlessly shuffling around until they get a little too close, and then it starts aggressively moving at them. Yeah.
That's fucking cool, man.
They're weird.
I haven't thought about that video in a long time, but there's a fucking real cool video.
Yeah.
That's a real good one. We should have brought that up from found footage.
We should have. It's a good one.
That was a really good one. Instead of a fucking rake in the fucking...
There's so many rakes.
There's so many rakes and culverts. It's ridiculous.
I got this really good one. It was about this lady's encounter with a witch in Hong Kong.
Cool.
She says that when she was 8 years old, her family lived for a year in Hong Kong before finally settling in the Philippines. While there, she was enrolled with a piano teacher. That was like she met twice a week.
Okay.
And she would always have to go through they called it the Stanley Market, which was like a squatter village. Okay. She always had to cross through to get to it. She was very upset. She didn't like her teacher. She thought something was off with her teacher a lot.
Right.
And yeah, she describes her teacher. She had long black silky hair. She was beautiful, but in a very like off-kilter way. She said she was uncomfortable looking at her a lot
because she was so smoking hot.
There was voodoo dolls everywhere.
That's not a good sign.
Art pieces that were cut in half on the walls, like Willy Wonka's office, I guess. a tea kettle that she said was the loudest tea kettle she has ever heard when coming to boil. And her bathroom just had tons of green slime, like jars full of green slimy liquids.
Yo.
Yeah. This lady spoke in a strong British accent and wore essentially just robes. Just dark bathrobes.
You're hitting a lot of bullet points here.
She sounds like Angelica Houston.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, were you taking piano lessons from fucking Morticia Addams?
She says, she's like, I was very convinced there was something lurking upstairs at all times. At the top of a narrow metal staircase was an impressive grand piano.
Awesome.
I don't know how she got the piano up there. But it took, like, she says the stairs went up to this tiny room. The piano was most of this room.
Right.
And she's like, I don't know why.
With some really disgruntled movers.
Yeah. She says the piano bench was right next to the stairs, so if you lean back, you would just fall down them. If you played the wrong note, she would scream at you and whack you on the fingers.
Well, that's just old school piano teachers.
At the end of the room sat a porcelain-faced, full-sized mannequin in a starchy white wedding dress, veil and presents and all.
Dude, this is not good. Get out of there. Get out of it.
As you can imagine, I was terrified, she says, if I was left alone with the mannequins.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, she said she got used to it after a while. She said eventually she got
after a while it's not so bad,
acclimated to it.
Yeah. That's funny.
She said she started saving her mom would bribe her with money to buy ice cream on the way home
so that she would still go.
Yeah, and she didn't like crossing the bad neighborhood and stuff.
Sure.
So she was getting bribed. She said she started saving it to bring to the Buddhist temple for offerings because she was fucking horrified.
Right. That's probably a good idea. Good investment, young girl.
Yeah.
Good investment.
And she says, nothing ever came of it. Eventually, they just moved. But she's very convinced the lady she was, taking piano lessons from was probably a witch.
Dude, that's pretty awesome. I wonder, how fucking cool would it be to just, to come across a witch who's just killer at piano.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And she's just making ends meet.
Yeah.
On the side.
That's awesome. She's, in the Witchcraft, there's probably not a whole lot of money in it.
No, not really.
Or at least there wasn't at this time. Now right. You can probably just open a New Age shop and be good to go. But the just the Lestat level, this old lady,
right?
This beautiful witch playing the piano in a fucking killer fashion.
this little Chinese girl just scared
terrified
of you because you're British and you're the only white person they know probably. So
and you
stick out like a sore thumb.
Being creepy on purpose. That's awesome, dude.
Right.
I just picture the Lestat scene where he's playing the piano.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty good. Only it's Morticia Addams who is ooh, so good. Love me some Morticia Addams. The fucking
it's always such bullshit. Everybody's always so awkward around that family, and I'm just like, why not me?
You can take me.
I want to hang out with the Addams family.
They're awesome. Do they steal stop signs? Fucking hilarious. That's not, if it really happened to be bad.
Oh no, your father's playing with his trains again.
Yeah. He loathes. He sulks. I hate him.
Yeah, I hate him.
He is festive.
That's the real talk. Yeah,
I love.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, that is a fucking great movie, man.
It's fucking Sonic.
That probably counts as witchcraft. What about Mama?
Their grandma is legit.
Yeah, Mama is a witch.
Yeah.
For
one
sure.
Of their, I can't remember her name, but when they're doing the tour of the cemetery in the first one, they go to one where she's she was a witch, she was burnt.
Yeah, it's probably it's always Calpurnia.
Yeah.
Or some fucking crazy awesome name like that.
the Addams.
Yeah, the Addamses. Their slogan or their house words.
Yeah,
we gladly feast on those who would subdue us.
Yeah.
Fucking so cool, man. Yes.
Your first cigar.
I smoked since I was 5. Mother insisted. Fucking yeah, dude. I want to watch that movie now.
Eric messaged me the other day, almost out of the blue. He's like, which is the best Raul Julia role, Bison or Gomez? I'm like, dude, Gomez.
Gomez, for sure.
Well, I was like, Gomez, obviously. Then a minute later, I was like, but my body seized up when I said it because I love that Bison role so much.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up. It's like picking between your children.
It's gotta be Gomez.
But one is an honor roll student, the other just smokes weed in your basement.
Yeah, the other one's just awesome.
Yeah, you love them both, but one is clearly a superior being. Yeah. You know. A fine, yes, a fine lunch, but your repast a tad rusty.
Yeah, I don't really have any other like really really cool witch ones. I had Creepy Rock and Spooky Teacher.
There was one I seen. It was a short, like 45-minute documentary I watched on a guy who was he was a pilot for mines in Africa for like scouting,
right?
And also like I think he was kind of running some teams or something. But one of his dig sites, they found like 13 dead bodies, and he got like sent up for it.
Sure.
And they were thinking it was him because there's not a whole lot of gainful employment in Central Africa. Right? It's mostly just subsistence living and that type of shit. So he tried to, but they're very superstitious. And so he had too many workers. These guys kept showing up, and he was like, I gotta get rid of these guys. I don't need this many people. I can't keep them on the payroll. They're not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. So he tried to he got some fake skulls, like fish tank skulls.
Sure.
And said he had done white man magic to take all the gold out of this area. And then like a couple days later, maybe a week later or whatever, all these dead bodies show up. So he got fucking sent up because one of the guys said that he saw him beat them all to death. And he spent like months in an African prison. And he got out eventually and went back to work for the prospecting company.
Right.
That's for the mining company, which I was like, I mean, right on. The guy also was like, man, I was like working at a gold mine. I was flying a plane. And, within like a couple weeks, I was like, found all these dead bodies. I was attacked with a knife in prison. I was in like 2 riots in prison and stuff. It's like, what's happening? I was like, you went to Africa is what's happening. What are you talking about? What's happening? Fucking Africa's awesome though. I'd love to go to Africa.
Honestly, that brings up, I started seeing them almost probably because I kept googling witches.
Yeah.
But I found out about like there's this like big issue I guess in villages in like center south, I think it is, like southern but like kind of more core of like the tribes there will just like if they think you're a witch they'll just kick you out. Like,
or they don't just kill you?
They don't kill you because their belief is that being a witch is involuntary. You are just, there's something bad about your spirit that leads you to do things. It's like your spirit will reach out and affect people, or like it'll lead you to do things that you can't like.
You can't help it.
Yeah. The problem is like they'll kick out anybody. Like
if you're even a little witchy.
Well, there's the 2 that like I saw like videos on where it was this like lady who clearly is like gone, like she's stroked out, like something's up there. But people just happened to die while she was all like sick and shit. So they were like, it might be you. So they killed the chicken and they watched how it died, and its legs were pointed in the right way. And you're a witch.
That'll happen.
And I was like, you shouldn't. Your government can't be based on
the old chicken death.
But the real fucked up one was, it was a 2-year-old. There's this little 2-year-old who's all skeletal. Like, he's just like, nobody will feed him. Nobody will give him any water because he's a witch. They determined he's a witch. Nobody will help this kid. And this poor, I think she's like Norwegian. She runs a foundation whose entire job is helping these witch communities of people who have been kicked out.
There was one, it was like
she adopted that kid too. He looks great now. I was so happy to see it because he looked so bad. I was like, get that boy water. And they're like, he's a witch.
Like, can't do it.
Sorry, witch. I was like,
there was one I almost watched. It was called the Witch Kids, where it seemed like if you're born prematurely, it's like, well, you're a witch baby, and clearly fuck with you.
Yeah, it comes back to what we were kind of talking about, where witch is just like, it's the term they use to describe people they don't want to help, or people they're scared of, or people they hate.
Right. It's a wide net.
It's an other. It's a word for other almost.
Sure.
And it's sucks because most of them are just weirdos with rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Or just, kind of had a weird roll of the dice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just happened to fucking look weird.
Yeah. You're like, well, you're a witch. Off you go.
Be born a little cockeyed, and it's like, bye.
I do like that they don't just immediately fucking brain you with a rock.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, you just need to find your living elsewhere because we're not trying to have witches in the village.
There's communities I was looking in. There's near that one where the lady stroked out. Like, she had to walk to it, and then they had to do a ritual to like let her in.
Right.
But yeah, like there's a community of these guys, like these people out there who've all been kicked out of their villages for being witches.
See, that's smart. Band together, but then again, it seems like,
That's a fucking powder keg.
Yeah.
Yeah. All it's gonna take is somebody to be like, all our problems are that town.
Or that witch village.
Yeah. Let's go kill them.
Let's burn it to the ground.
You see it often when a bad man takes over a disenfranchised country, town,
principality, literally
they
any
point
group of people.
at a group of people that can't fight back and they blame them.
Yeah, and then murder them all. And then, which is bad, you can't murder them all because then what are you going to blame your problems on when they still happen? Because guess what? It was never their fault.
It was never the witches.
Fucking dingus. Anyway.
Oh, we still do it.
Yes, we do. Literally all the time. Doing
All
it currently
the
right
time.
now. Doing it currently right now. What color is your tie? You're probably the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking... God damn it.
Like George Carlin said, whenever you see people being blamed for stuff, check out their hats. It's always a difference of hats. It's very strange.
Yeah. Fucking Carlin. What a sage that guy was, huh?
Darn on.
Respect Carlin.
So that's our eyewitness ones. So
Mostly,
we will move on to the main event.
Main event.
Which is
this fucking gold mine.
We watched Warlock. Which is a nice. I felt like after we watched a couple of serious things.
Right. It's good to throw in a goofball one.
If I was like, let's do like a fun B one. It's kind of like when we watched Cannibal Holocaust, and I was like, all right, we're gonna watch Orca. Like,
yeah,
like, we need to. It's a palate cleanser.
Sure.
But yeah, we watched Warlock, which is a fun movie.
I think it was great.
It can't. I was thinking to myself. I was like, this movie can't decide if it's bad or fun. Sometimes it's just bad, but then sometimes it's just sometimes it's good.
Oh,
like,
sure.
It does really cool ideas. I remembered way less than I fucking thought I did.
Right.
Like when there's a part where she starts nailing the ground. I was waiting for that because I thought that was the end of the movie.
Oh.
Like in my head, I was like, yeah, that's when she beats him. She puts nails in the ground.
But no, there's a hocus pocus showdown at the end.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh, we sure will.
So Warlock follows a man who is no name, just the Warlock.
Just Warlock,
in the 1600s. It's like 1669 or something like that.
I thought it was like 1690. It doesn't matter. It's in the 1600s.
Yeah, it's 300 years before the
80s.
And a guy named Redfern, Redfern, who's like a Scottish witch hunter.
Yeah.
Who is there to kill the Warlock.
Obviously.
But then Satan intervenes, or Zamiel? They give the demon a name.
Satan intervenes, but I think like he has to talk to Zamiel.
His contact, yeah.
His handler is Zamiel.
Yeah. Sponsor.
Yeah.
A big, scary space-time tornado comes in and yeets the Warlock into the 80s.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And before he goes, Mr. Redfern dives after him and is sucked into it as well.
That's not what happens.
He does.
No.
Well, the Warlock is gone from the room. And he runs to the center of the room. I think he dives for him. And then he disappears.
I thought it's what was confusing me too, because anyway, it's pretty much Terminator.
It's the plot of Terminator. Yeah, 100%.
Because these two things from the past instead of the future are duking it out in our modern day 80s, right? So, which is a weird thing to say, modern day 80s, but when it was made, it was
the modern day 80s.
The modern day 80s. I thought that when the Warlock gets hurtled to the 80s, that Redfern tries to dive at him, but there's a scene after that where he like runs down and sees the clouds and shit. But that might be reversed in my head.
Maybe.
Where like he runs down, sees the clouds, is like, oh shit, Satan's here to save me. He runs back up, tries to dive at him, and they get transported to the 80s. That's probably, that would track more.
Yeah, so they get transported, and then we are introduced to the lead, like the co-lead of the film, who is this Cassandra with a K. She says it 20 times.
Yeah, at least 6.
She's obnoxious. She looks like the girl from Blade Runner with the
kind
cool
of
haircut.
Yeah,
she's got that. Well, it's the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is great because like you would a normal movie, it would be Redfern that crashes into her living room.
Yeah.
But it's the Warlock.
It's the Warlock instead.
And they like tend to him, and there's that part where he gets up and she's like, no, just sleep on that couch. And he just lays down and crashes.
Yeah, he just goes to sleep. Because he's probably really tired. Time travel probably takes it out. It's interesting that you make a note of that, because in a regular movie it totally would be Redfern, and he has to explain to her what's going on before they can go out and find the Warlock. And exactly, right.
But it's a movie where Redfern goes away for a while. It's like a surprise that he shows up. Yeah. Because her and her gay roommate, which there's a weird line where a cop goes, yeah, but don't you expect this kind of thing? You said he's gay. He's gay. And she's like, he's not. She's like, he's not going down to bathrooms and dicking little boys through holes in the wall.
Like, Jesus.
Then he goes, you said gay, and she's like, they're gay, not queer.
Like,
and it's like, of the time. We're just gonna move on.
We just gotta move on from that. But that'd be one of those things where there should be a disclaimer in front of that movie now, where it's like, look, but this offers
the phrasing of going down and dicking little boys through holes.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, but yeah, of the times, what are you gonna do?
But yeah, so the Warlock, her roommate is murdered by the Warlock.
Yeah.
Who
in pretty brutal fashion too.
He bites his tongue. Well,
cuts his finger off.
That bit, yeah. He sees that he has a Scorpio ring.
Yeah.
And he's very into it. He loves the jewelry. Yeah, and he's like, nah, it's a weird detail. He's like, I broke my pinky finger and it won't.
Now it can't come off. He's like, all right, fine. So
he chops his finger.
Here's the thing: would the Warlock, if the guy didn't say that the ring wouldn't come off, yeah, would he have cut the finger off?
Probably.
I mean, probably right?
Maybe not. He might have just. I mean, that guy was probably gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cuts his finger up and then like gives him just the meatiest kiss. And at first we were like, "Oh, okay, here we go."
Right. Is he gonna be into this?
Then he rips his tongue out with his teeth.
Yeah, it's bad.
I remember that very vividly. The not the pulling, but the spitting the tongue in. I in my head, I see the tongue hit the fry pan.
Right.
Very vividly.
He followed quickly by an omelet.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a diner. He didn't like put an omelet on top of his tongue.
Yeah.
Which he could have, whatever. He's a warlock. He does all kinds of crazy shit, probably.
Yeah. So the plot essentially is
the Terminator.
He is sent to here because a book that witches have been trying to assemble. For the entire their entire existence.
Yeah.
Is what the fuck they call it? It's
the Grand Grimoire.
The Grand Grimoire, yes. And they say at this exact point in human history, it is in 3 parts.
Right.
It has been separated. It was collected at one point, but now it's been divided.
Separated and scattered it to the wind, hoping that nobody will gather the 3 pieces and bring an end to literally all of creation.
They don't three dividing into thirds. Not that good. Why don't you just get a cruise ship and halfway to fucking Bermuda, just start winging a handful, 5 or 6 into the ocean.
Put them in Ziploc baggies with a rock in it and fucking pitch it.
You could do such a good job. I mean, I guess back in the day, their resources were probably limited.
That's true. This did happen.
They say they divide them in colonial times.
Yeah. But still, you could have done it in more than 3.
Yeah.
You only have to make 3 stops now.
Yeah, it's so easy to fucking put that together.
But even in, because you can start justifying it in many ways. For one, people were dumber back then. For 2, it was a lot harder to get to these 3 places than in the 80s when you can just get on a plane.
This was probably a quest in and of itself.
Oh, yeah, to separate them? Yeah, absolutely. They probably were going to do more places, but by the 3rd place they're like
I'm done.
I gotta go home, man.
Well, the 3rd one's it's in Boston where it started even.
Yeah, it's true. So they probably just came back and was like, fuck it, dude.
Let's just put this here somewhere. Let's just bury it with fucking this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's trying to collect these pieces to this book which has God's true name in it,
and he has to read it backwards
and it'll unmake creation.
Unmake the universe.
Which is so fucking crazy.
It's always one of those James Bond villain plots where they're like, I'm gonna blow up the world. You're like, why would you want to do that?
At least there's the scene where the Warlock goes to the psychic medium.
Yeah.
And he makes her get possessed by Zamiel.
Totally wants his warcock.
She definitely does.
Yeah. She wants him bad.
And he
honestly, he looks like Lord Raiden from the Mortal Kombat movies.
Yeah.
So I get it.
But yeah, when he's there and she gets possessed by the demon, at least he asks.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what happens? What happens to me?
What do I get?
Yeah. What do I get out of this? Because like we're undoing reality.
Yeah.
I need to know.
The demon just pretty much says, "Don't worry about it. You'll be rewarded."
Yeah.
She's like, "Come on, don't let the demon bait you in like that."
Yeah.
Man, trust me, you'll get paid. You know how many fucking people have gotten screwed by that exact like situation? Trust me, I'll pay you.
Can we talk about Warlock for a sec? Because that lady wants that wants him bad. Can we talk about how like good he is, the actor?
He's fucking great.
He at least loves being this character, like the Warlock.
Absolutely. And who wouldn't? Really?
It's so he looks so great.
He does nail it like really hard.
Oh yeah, there's so much fun stuff. There's that bit where he like we were like. It was interesting until they revealed that he had still killed the kid.
Yeah.
Where he runs into the kid who hasn't been baptized, and he seems genuinely into the child.
Well, it kind of like, the kid is he's playing catch with himself with a football. Runs across Warlock, who is just like, hello, child, and then it cuts to a different scene of probably Redfern and the girl, Catherine, or no, Cassandra.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the kid and Warlock just hanging out on a swing set. He's explaining how football works to him, and he's just like chilling with him.
Yeah.
Genuinely intrigued. Like, okay, yeah, I'll take a turn on this. Who punts on first down? What the fuck? Not even Tampa Bay does that.
Yeah, we were like, hey now.
Yeah, all right with that.
Well, there's that fun. Yeah, and then Warlock's like, why aren't you in church? She's like, oh, I never go in there. My dad hates that, all that stuff. And he goes, really?
Is that a fact?
It's so like you almost feel like Warlock. When I was rewatching it, I was sitting here going like, is he gonna be like, dude, the modern day rules?
Yeah,
everyone hates God now.
He's like fucking Charles Dance from The Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
Like, I just killed someone. I did it on purpose. He's like, this is awesome. Nobody cares that I'm a warlock.
Yeah.
Fucking, I can do whatever I want.
No one likes God anymore? What happened?
Yeah, this is fucking perfect.
If this was made... this movie is very cookie cutter. Like, there's so many bad movies that are cool concept, and then let's put it in modern day so that we can budget cut.
Bucks.
Like even Terminator is admittedly that. Like Cameron has said,
absolutely.
That more of it would have been in the future.
I didn't know that Cameron admitted it, but I can see it.
He's the trendsetter. It's like Predator made fighting an alien in the woods like the thing,
right?
And then we got so many hillbillies with guns fighting goofy aliens in the woods, but. It's one of those things. I'm like, if a Cameron had this movie, there would have been a fucking scene. You even called it out. Like, is there going to be a scene where they get modern?
I would have. I wanted it to happen.
But there would have been a scene where he runs into he goes across like a Kiss poster and he's like, "Yo, modern day is like lit." Like,
yeah. Look at these fucking black metal demons.
Yeah. If we remade it today, 100% would have to be like see how fucking insane how like mainstream shit like Gwar and Marilyn Manson are, and Slipknot, and him just be like, whoa,
this is great.
He gets a little bit of a hocus pocus, like, what happened?
Yeah,
did hell happen?
Yeah,
well, it was gone. Why are these things out?
Why are they spewing from the earth? I would have really liked. I thought when the movie was really like getting going, I was like, one of these guys, maybe not both, probably not both, right. But I thought one of them would get like, maybe not a montage, but of what is that? Nothing. Okay. I thought there might have been some technical issues for a second. Something started progress barring.
I think that was my Steam was updating.
Oh, good. Oh, it's on your friend's network is unreachable, dude. Anyway, so I thought
they don't get any.
I
cool
thought
makeovers.
At least one of them would get essentially a makeover. But I thought it would be better if the witch hunter got to do it.
Right.
Because the warlock, it's better that he's just his fortune nature. He's trying to end creation.
Yeah,
so
he's not.
He's already in his end state. You know. But judging by the new quest that the witch hunter has to go on, I thought he'd have to adopt some modern accoutrement.
Sure.
To affect his quest better.
Yeah. No, they kind of lean into, and we're skipping a lot. We're skipping all the garbage where Redford meets Cassandra, because none of that matters. It's all. I mean, it's all standard. Like, I don't believe you. Now I believe you.
Pretty cut and dry. Yeah.
There is the warlock does curse Cassandra to age like 20 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Which is why she's with Redfern.
Because you definitely. It was interesting that portion of it that the writers of this movie were like, okay, we need something to actually motivate Cassandra to go with Redfern, because she would...
There's no reason.
She would definitely not. She tries to after she gets the spell
she's just
reversed.
like,
She's like, okay, well, that's
I'm
it
done.
then. Good luck.
I can't help you.
Here's the keys to my car. Hope you learned how to drive, you know?
But it's interesting that Redfern very, very pointedly rejects all modern anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't like driving. He refuses to even try. He's petrified of the plane they have to go on at one point.
Absolutely.
It's almost, it feels like, again, had a Cameron or like another director with like a more like a Spielberg or something with an eye for themes.
Right.
It feels like a movie where they would have done something more with the idea of no, look at how like old world knowledge is like handy, because like when they have that showdown at that Mennonite family, where the it's clear that most of the family is like modern, but they came up in that background.
Yeah, so he still knows all the rules,
but
like
the
Amish grandpa.
Yeah, the grandpa, like, it's so crazy.
Tells his son, he's like, you know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, he's like the milk's bad, and then the horse is all wet. He's like
a sweaty horse in the morning.
And then he sees like their attic door is open from the outside.
He's like, fucking warlock.
He paints shit up, and there's that thing where he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know what? The horse sweating in the morning, cream souring at night. Like, you know what that means, son.
You know what it is. Like,
And the idea that he's in it. The second Redfern shows up too, he like they identify together, and he goes like Amish, he goes Mennonite, and he's like, good,
whatever.
It's so like it feels like if a director with more of a strong hand on theme, they would have maybe leaned on that real hard about like old world shit's kind of important because like you guys all forgot how magic works.
Exactly, because when an old world threat comes knocking, you don't know how to deal.
You have nothing. Yeah.
Right.
But they don't really ever go into it.
No, they don't. Well, and it's fine that they don't. I really enjoyed the like Amish grandpa and Redfern like getting along and getting to action right away, because they both know what the threat is, and they both know we don't have time to sit here and like, what's your name even, or it's like, nope, we know what to do.
Yep,
gotta get to it because this is gonna get way worse real fast. You know, so that whole exchange I really like got a kick out of it, actually. And then especially too when during the conflict with the warlock, the Amish guy gets blinded, like all that black shit,
he
blood starts blowing out of his eyes.
Bleed out of his eyes and shit.
And Redfern lets the warlock go because I gotta help this guy.
Yeah.
And it's not, but it's cool because it doesn't come from a place of like, oh, this dude is like of my ilk. Yeah. So I have to help a brother. It's more like, no, if I can save a life, that the warlock tried to took, it's worth it.
It's a victory, yeah.
Exactly.
And
because he's lost too many to the warlock, so he's like, if I can save one, I'll do what I can to do that.
It's fucking he's rad. And that's where he tells her to chase him down with a hammer and nails and shit. Before we get that, I picked it mainly because I love how it handles old superstitious rules for shit.
Right. Like, there is like some
like
fucking
the shackles
lore
they have on him, like where it's just his thumbs and big toes, and it's like holding him down. That's fucking cool.
Accurate.
I love it. During that showdown at the barn, he has them put like that, like a plant and like pennies, like copper pennies in their mouths for like a reason.
Which fucking mostly those are zinc now, I think. So they might not have worked.
But when the grandpa's blind, he's like, "You go get him. I need to get like a set of house keys that are mostly he has
they need brass keys.
Yeah, brass keys, and he needs to make a thing out of it. And
he
you see
needs
it later.
to make a little
it's like a dream catcher,
a mobile.
Yeah. And he tells
you got to turn them clockwise every hour.
Yeah, I love where he's like, "Can you feel this? All right, I need you to turn this clockwise every hour," and the vision will come back. I love that. I love that it's like super specific. It's all like fact.
Yeah,
it's just like, no, this thing you don't.
Well, when you said too, when she started like pounding the nails into his footprints and it was hurting him,
that's a thing.
You were like, yeah, it's real. It's like, oh no shit,
it's a real thing that like.
So it's cool that they like kept lore going. Like it's a goofball movie for sure.
Yeah.
But that the fact that the lore is fairly even a little accurate, it's like, you know what, right on, man. Somebody did warlock research.
It's one of those things that
they didn't just make a monster movie.
Yeah, it's like the witch version of that. How there's so many cool vampire rules, like can't be invited in, or the running water one.
Excellent.
Or even with some of the Chinese vampires with like the getting fungus from their tomb, the soil in their tomb, putting it in their left sock and pitching it across the river ever near their house, we'll fuck them up. That's a real thing.
I did not know that.
I love that shit. And so the idea of him being like, no, yeah, just find anywhere that his skin has touched earth, like left track, you can nail it in, and it's like connected to him still.
Sure.
It's so weird.
Well, there's something about being a warlock that just connects your physical vessel to the rest of the world. Because even like that's how you track him. If his blood is on something, it points at him.
Yeah.
There's no matter what it is.
He says he has that little compass.
A witch compass.
Yeah.
It's also a cool name for something.
It's also that's one of the better jokes where she's like, what is that? He's like, witch compass. He's like, which one? He's like, no, it's a witch compass.
He's like, oh no, I thought you meant witch, not witch. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
But yeah, they do, because he loses the witch compass kinda, but he like pegs him with a weather vane.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of cool shots
with a fucking killer shot, dude.
Yeah.
I said it when we were watching the movie. I was like, it's like he's been throwing weather vanes his whole life. You know what I mean? He had that fucking weather vane, and the warlock shot out of the barn. He was just like, didn't even think about it. Wagack!
No, it's like
nailed him.
Yeah, because it's really good, great,
so awesome, man. It's so great.
But yeah, later with the weather vane, even because they don't beat him. And then they kind of go on their quest to like find the last bit.
Yeah, they got to race him to Boston.
Yeah, and they end up in like you said, the Hocus Pocus
graveyard. Yeah,
it's the same one.
It looks exactly the same.
It's super weird. But there's that great shot where they're trying to figure something out, and all of a sudden they notice the weather vane is just fucking spinning.
Yeah,
and then shoots straight up
because you're like he is going woo, and Christopher Reeve Superman's into them.
He totally does. So yeah, they come to the showdown, where it's pretty rad. Well, okay, there's a little bit that's weird where
there's a couple of things in there that are pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, well, there's the bit where they find that the last bit's in Redfern's grave.
Yeah,
which we called. We were like, oh, it's probably interned with.
It should be his.
Yeah, like what if it's in his grave? There's nothing in there, but his body is in there.
Yeah,
which raises a lot of weird questions.
I don't think so.
Well, it's one of those things where you're like, wait. So he goes back, which he does, which that's when it becomes less of a, like, it stops being kind of magic and turns into like a time travel movie, like really hard.
Yeah, they close it's like, they close the loop. Yeah.
Which is, it's just weird. It's weird to see like that happen.
You can do more with past guys going to the future than you do with future guys going to the past, because they're like, depending on how you think time travel works, you can fuck up your own existence by meddling with the past. But they're fucking with the future. It doesn't matter what happens.
But it's like, it's weird because like his body being there, it's like, you make it then, right? Like you obviously make it back.
That's what I was saying. Was like he's very not cool with like his grave and like seeing his body and all that shit.
I think it's more superstition.
It's gotta be.
He's old timey. He's very,
because any sort of logic is like, yeah, well then you win.
Yeah.
Because
but he's not. He's a man from 1600s.
Unless they buried like a rando in your place just to get you a grave, which is possible.
Well, no, we know it. It's probably confirmed to be him because when he does go back at the end.
Oh, it's absolutely
the scripture like appears.
Yeah, it's absolutely him. I'm just saying, as far as his mental state when he sees his own grave,
right.
It would be a comfort to me, just being like, we're good,
right? Yeah. It's definitely like a confirmation.
Yeah.
But they have a pretty rad showdown where, well, there's a bit of drama where they're like, oh, well, good, it's on the grave is here, we're good. But then they find out that
that's true.
They've been relocating the cemetery.
Moving graves, so
his isn't in consecrated ground.
It's technically not hallowed ground, so there's a problem because warlocks can't step foot on hallowed ground. So churches, graveyards, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Anywhere that Highlanders can't fight, he can't go at all.
Right. But yeah, they have a fun, they have a brief little fight before Warlock kind of gets a hold of Cassandra and starts fucking just bumping nails into her feet.
Yeah,
it's super
and
fucking
dude, they go deep in there too.
Yeah,
it
like
really
the heel.
It unsettled me.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about the heel too. Is like when you step on a nail, like with your heel, that shit is painful, dude.
Yeah.
It hurts a lot. You'd be surprised how often you walk on your heels. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But
he gets it, yanks it out, does it again.
Yeah.
Goes into the fucking arch in the front.
That was, which leads into my favorite part, where Redfern is on the hallowed ground side of things.
Super badass.
And he's like, all right, look. And he puts the pages on the ground, puts a rock over top of him, and is like, come fucking get him with your hands.
Yeah,
though.
I need you to get him with your hands.
Don't use no magic, no fucking trickery, no nothing.
Yeah.
Just come get him.
And he throws his knife away. He throws his whip away.
Yep.
His salt whip.
His fucking awesome Indiana Jones salt whip. Yeah.
Yeah.
The and then the warlock, he starts to use some like magic, and Redfern's like, "Oh, so you're scared of me then?"
Yeah.
He pretty much goes, "Oh, so you're a pussy."
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then Warlock is like, "All right, we doing this?" And then they just like mortal struggle hand to hand.
They get into like a scrap, and Redfern's clearly like the physically stronger one.
Yeah. Well, they start fighting, but Warlock gets the upper hand and starts putting him over a wall, and that's when Redfern kind of throws dirt in his eye, which might be like hallowed ground dirt,
maybe.
which is like.
It really irritates him. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's
and
not
starts
good at all.
Putting his face into just right onto hallowed ground.
Which then I think, as far as the Warlock's judgment of the rules go of this contest, he goes like, "Oh, so it's cool to."
I mean, also he's like, "Fuck it."
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of losing. So
this is interesting too, because he keeps doing like an energy throughout the movie. And I thought it was just
he uses like Shang Tsung magic.
It's like I thought for a bit I was like, "Oh, it's like shitty fire," because it wasn't until like Lord of the Rings that they figured out good CG fire.
Fair.
But then like he does it into Redfern's mouth, and he pukes it up like a liquid.
Like,
it's very strange.
True. It's true. It's just like,
it's like
plasma energy.
It's bad magic.
Yeah. It's pure bad juju.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like he gets the book because Redfern's out for the count, throwing out bad magic, and he starts like doing his thing, and like.
Which everything rhymes. You know it's a cool spell because the whole thing rhymes.
And then Cassandra with a K, she has at first it's like you don't think it's gonna be a plot point. It really still isn't almost, but she has insulin needles because she's needs insulin all the time.
That's why.
Yeah, and she like fills them up with salt water from the bay.
Well, yeah, because she got flung into the bay by
during their struggle.
Yeah,
she fills them up with salt water and she injects like 2 of them right into his neck,
right into his fucking neck,
and it just melts him.
And she goes, "What you say? Try salt water, fuck brain."
Yeah, something ridiculous.
She calls him fuck brain, and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty good one."
There's a couple great there's some fun slang from her. There's a lot of great sayings from Redfern.
Yeah,
I think my favorite was what the fuck's he talking? It's the cab driver. He's telling him to go left. And the guy's like, "No, it's quicker this way." And he's like, if you don't want to be struck about the ears and face.
Or it's like thrashed.
It's like thrashed about the ears and face. You will lean west now.
Bay west.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
That is good.
But yeah, Warlock. A lot of language is pretty fun, but Warlock gets the book. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna say God's name backwards."
Do it.
What was it? What is
say it not?
Yeah, what is the first letter? Because he starts to say it.
It's like R.
It's weird. It's a weird,
It looks like it's to say Rachel or something.
His name's Rachel.
Yeah, God's name is Rachel.
Miranda.
Oh shit.
It's fucking Reavers. But yeah, then he gets injected with salt water and blows up. Which at first is a really silly effect where it looks like a party skeleton just hitting the ground very unceremoniously.
I mean, it looks cool when he's like meat for a second there, and he's like trying to look at him and stuff.
He's still looking.
And then, it is just like it's like an unceremonious.
But then they walk up, and it's a really cool effect of it slowly like kinetic sand falling
crumbling
away. It looks really nice.
I think so too. Then he fucking skull stomps him.
He tries. He's still trying to look.
Yeah.
And he still stomps him.
Get some Warlock on your boots, Redfern. Hell yeah.
And then the movie just kind of ends.
Yeah, and then of course Redfern.
Redfern goes back, and there's a weird thing where they imply like last second that she looks like his dead girlfriend.
Yes. They bring up on the road trip portion of it. Old Cassandra asks him, like, "Okay, so what happened to
That's a great line too.
Yeah, what happened to your lady?" And he was like, "Well, it becomes clear that the Warlock got a hold of her, and that was that.
He Warlocked her.
He Warlocked her out, And then the Warlock confirms this by when he has Cassandra captive and is nailing her foot. Is like, "Yeah, she looks a lot like your fucking girlfriend. You remember that bitch? I fucking Warlocked the shit out of that bitch. She's dead now." And then he's just like, "I'm not good." Yeah. That's when he's like, "All right, fight me then, you fucking bitch." And then, it plays out like we just said it did.
Yeah, they kind of shoehorn a like a romance at the end.
They
Which at first I liked the moment because it looks like it's leading into it, but then he kind of gives her like the eye forehead kiss, like he's still like proper, and it's more about saving than it was love. Maybe that was like a deflection, but no, it's about love.
Yeah,
which feels forced.
I mean, I'm not super angry that it happened. However, I totally see what you're saying. There wasn't enough seeds planted
because it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like there was the one where they're in the basement of the church trying to find out where the third packet of pages are.
Yeah.
That they say at the same time and kind of look at each other, but that's just like an adventurer thing. It doesn't necessarily mean the spark of romance.
Sure.
And then the conversation in the car.
Had that great bit where she at first she doesn't give a shit, then she asks and he's like, I thought yesterday you didn't care. Why do you care now? She's like, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, yesterday was 20 years ago.
Yesterday was 20 years ago.
I was like, that's fucking noir as shit.
And I know they didn't think about it like that, but I'm like, man, if you remade this movie, you maybe like you could play with the idea that it feels like it's been 20 years. Like it feels like she's just been going.
Right. Oh yeah, true. Like this adventure is getting nuts.
Oh, I love when she's nailing his feet with the impressions. She gets to one of his head and she nails it in, it knocks him out.
Yeah.
And his hand, because to break the spell, she needs her bracelet back because he stole it from her.
He stole it from her, made her curse. Yeah.
And she's got to just run up very quickly and grab, not even that fast, just gingerly jog over to his limp arm while the train's rolling away.
But she can't do it
because she's like 80.
She's elderly now. Yeah.
It sucks.
And it is the train is clearly just not moving that fast. Her body is not capable of moving really anymore. Because she's fucking, at this point she's like 60.
Yeah,
I think because she went from 20 to 40 to 60. Mm-hmm. Every day she ages 20 years, which is her motivation at all to be like, all right, well, I don't want to be fucking 100 in 4 days, so.
But it's a fun movie.
I think it was great. I had a great time watching.
I like its weird adherence to it's weird lore and its weird structure.
It's one of those sets of movies that like I don't think I've ever seen any of them, but I know there's like 19 of them.
I think there are 3. I think it caps at 3.
Really?
I think.
That's good.
I don't think they ever made a
It's like,
one.
Like Wishmaster or Phantasm or something like that, where it's like, I know about this, and I've seen bits and pieces of all of them probably, but I've never seen one like front to back. I don't think.
Give me Warlock versus Wishmaster,
dude. I'll take anybody versus anybody.
Where he's like, I need a way into the salt flats because she hides the Bible in the salt flats.
Yeah, dude.
He's like, I need a way in. I gotta bust that genie out from Wishmaster,
dude.
But then the wish goes real bad.
Of course, it always does. That wouldn't be bad. As you start roping in like movies of that ilk, you start bringing in Phantasm, Wishmaster, fucking Candyman.
Candyman's a little too high class.
I think so too, but it was it was a bad call. I just want to see more Candyman.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that remake they were supposed to do? Is that still doing? Is it still going out?
I think it's made. I think it's a victim of COVID fucking its release up.
Yeah. Well, that seems like something they should roll out on streaming, no problem. A Candyman remake? It doesn't seem like. I mean, they probably had to make some money back from theater attendance. But most of the Candyman later movies were like direct to DVD or direct to video anyway, maybe made for TV. So I don't see why you couldn't just be like, yeah, well, this Candyman, just watch it on streaming, dude. Just pay your fucking $10 and watch new Candyman. I think that was a Jordan Peele did some shit for that. I think.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Seems like a Jordan Peele.
I'm interested. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what the trailer looked like, but I remember being like, all right,
I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, Candyman.
Yeah, sure.
I like Candyman.
Yeah.
His fucking fur coat.
Well,
super gangster.
I think we've done all we can about Witchcraft.
Seems that way.
I have a special place for Witchcraft in my heart because I was around a positive influence of it for so long. So like I like it a lot. I love evil witches. I love spooky witches. They're iconic.
Yeah, I agree. Witches are cool. Their hats,
especially like that because we're Americans. That standard like Americana version of it,
right?
That very like Puritan, deep-seated fear that we got in our subculture.
Puritan witches are probably top tier as far as recognizable witches.
Oh yeah.
I'd say so.
Which even then, that's like mostly a carryover of.
We never talked about the Wicked Witch of the West.
Because Fuck that one.
She's all right.
She's alright.
She was like probably a template for the Green Goblin.
Holy shit. You know what? You might be on something.
I think so. The Green Goblin originally didn't have a glider. He had a robot broom.
Yeah.
That was like a rocket pack. That was cool. Man, I love the Green Goblin.
Yeah. I mean, we both love witches.
I agree.
They're great. Again, they are on a gray area. Like, I'm not scared of vampires. I'm not really scared of aliens. I'm scared of witchcraft in the sense of, you know, partly it exists.
I'm more exactly.
Yeah. It's a more realistic thing I might run into.
Like I said up top, it freaks me out more than like your average horror movie.
Because there are
subject.
plenty of real dark witch like paganistic groups and cult groups that exist.
And all it takes is someone to believe it's real enough to act on it.
Yeah.
And that can bring real trouble.
And it's very real, and also sadly, like, the witch moniker was used for so long as like a excuse to fucking really just butcher marginalized people.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
It does suck.
It's
not fun.
It's not fun. It's, as you know, that's why I feel like that's why I felt like my picks for real witches. I was like, I need to be weird about them because I am like,
I don't
want to just talk about. And then that nice old lady who was just right when she guessed when it was gonna rain, got stoned to death by her Billy. I didn't want to read 6 of those.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot.
There sure is. Man, it's a good point.
It's like,
I just went goofy with it on accident, really.
Right.
Like, but because I didn't want to do witch trials stuff.
Right.
Because
It's too easy.
Yeah, it's just beat into the fucking ground, man.
Yeah.
You try to get some off the wall pulls.
Sure. And it's, you know, I don't like how we treat the idea of witches because, you know, my mom's one.
Yeah.
I
don't mess with them. They're fine.
They're fine. They're nice. They're, you know, they got rocks
Most
and shit.
of the time, usually if they're fucking with you fuck with them first.
Right. But
I would think.
I love the aesthetic. I love anything with like real deep old world lore.
Dude,
and
pagan
rules.
stuff is fun. Dude, old like nameless gods of the wilderness is my
your
jam.
god is just like the feeling of the night is your god. It's like dude, that shit like where it's like the emotional drive.
The energy of the forest itself.
Yeah, the fear you have when you're alone in the woods is a god to be afraid of.
Yeah.
That kind of shit's real. That primalistic shit's real nice.
So cool.
You know. I think it might be one of the first times like one of our topics had since Bigfoot maybe where like literally it's got like an equilibrium of like horror and then but also like just pure good like a weird it's got a weird scale to it.
There's a dark and a light.
Yeah.
Which ain't that fucking ain't that just how it goes?
Ain't that just the way?
Ain't that just the way?
But that's all we got for witches. I have picked our next topic.
Did you really?
We've done a couple pretty standard ones. Like we did aliens and before that witches, aliens, and then evil Santas. So it's been a couple.
Are you gonna do a weird one?
I'm gonna do one that might be a little tricky.
Oh fucking!
I want to do one based on obsessions. You know. Stalkers, crazy people. You could be obsessed with a person. People who went too far being obsessed with a subject, an item, maybe. There's plenty of room for it.
Yikes!
There's plenty of room for it. I'm picking a very safe pick with our movie that I don't know if you've seen.
Is it just called Obsession?
No, it's I wanna.
Oh, that's the Beyonce movie, I think.
Yeah, I want to revisit the remake of Cape Fear, the one with De Niro.
Oh,
it's
I
very
love
good.
that movie.
It's very good.
I love that movie. I watch that movie probably easily once every couple of years.
Yeah, it's really good. I'd like to revisit it. It's been a bit since I've watched it.
It's a very
Max classic obsession-driven revenge flick. Very, very good.
Nick Nolte, Robert De Niro, Juliette Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's more people in there that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, that dude.
But I feel like this is one that we will be forced to find some like weird off the wall stuff to talk about.
Man, I don't even know how to research it.
It might backfire. It might backfire.
Who cares?
But I'm rolling the dice.
Yeah, let's fucking backfire. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it fucking Campfire Backfire.
Dude, our next band.
Backfire Campfires? I don't know. Because it's like a horror thing, that we're doing. So like campfires, but also backfires. I don't know. There's something in there somewhere. Who gives a shit? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Well, you can find us at our usual places at midnighthour.libsyn. You can find us over on, we're actually on a thing called player.fm now, which is...
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it compiles like podcasts from all over the place.
Good for that.
It's a nice like alternative to Spotify.
Okay.
Eric recommended it because he says a lot of people use it. And I was like,
Really?
cool. And they're just free.
I mean, I definitely heard that, like, the name of that.
Yeah, so you can find us at Scariest Hour on Player FM. You can find us on YouTube as well, and over on our MySpace page and
Our
Twitter.
MySpace page?
Do you have a no, not MySpace. Facebook.
It's like,
Facebook.
How did you
Holy
do that?
shit.
How did you do that?
I said, Tom, how you feel about Bigfoot?
What's going on? And he was like, "Do I got some stuff for you?"
Do I got some stuff for you? Do you want? Can I be in one? And
I was
like,
literally being
No,
like,
no,
"How
no.
did you possibly do that? Is it still around?"
I don't know.
I don't know either. Probably buried
It was
somewhere.
a Freudian slip.
Yeah, that's fucking odd, man.
But yeah, you can find us all across. All of our stuff is at the Scariest Hour, except for our Libsyn, which is Midnight Hour, but that's a fiasco.
Yeah. The whole thing's a clusterfuck. That's how we like it. Like a good clusterfuck.
But yeah, so join us next time. Look up look into fun obsession-based stuff. Maybe watch Cape Fear. Both of them. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They're both really good.
What is that other one? Cary Grant?
Yes.
Okay.
Who nails it?
Oh, of course. Cary Grant.
But yeah, watch Cape Fear. Do some homework with us. We'll meet back here at our usual time. This has been Matt
And Zach.
Have a smooth.